jealousy. Possessiveness and Envy in Relationship. Written by Lindsay Baines. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Chapter 1. Jealousy in Relationships. How come a person feels jealous? Perhaps the relationship was too weak to begin with? When the relationship is strong and both are dedicated, should one feel envious at all? Or is there something in an individual's genes? How can someone be envious if everything appears to be exercising just fine? Does it connect to an individual's past? Or why must we feel jealous? But envy is still a fact of life. It can be there, whether we like it or not. Let's examine better what envy is and where it originates from. Let's look at the basic example. Say your child likes your neighbors and he or she's mindful to them. Can you feel jealous of this or happy with this? Can you try to remove your daughter or son from the next-door neighbors or prohibit them to go? Can you confront the neighbors? You may do nothing at all. What if your kid is replaced with your partner? Your reaction could be completely different. If so, why? What's the difference in both situations? It's the suspicion, the dream, and the imagination that something could be going on. The primary difference is belief. You have a strong belief that the child may run around and have a good time with a ton of people around the day. However, he or she will return to you at the time of night, or maybe hungry or maybe hurt. Am I right? It's not needed to share the specific, very same belief together with your lover or spouse, and that's the primary reason for jealousy. Someplace in your ideas, you're always curious about how you look, your intelligence, your relationship skills, and various kinds of additional elements that could break your relationship, making your partner more susceptible to get into another relationship. Can any relationship that is dependent on such slippery ideas be considered a happy relationship? Will it make it through the test of time effortlessly? No. The most convenient way out would be to talk about, without hesitation, everything in your ideas together with your spouse or lover and expose all your fears. Be absolutely open. Try to discover everything that is integrated in the mind of the partner in the exact same way. Discuss every little thing and choose whatever is the best choice, simply because your relationship isn't going anywhere soon. Give that commitment and take that dedication in exchange, and savor life forever and ever without bothering about enviousness. If at the end of the day, the two of you came to the conclusion that it isn't working anymore, the commitment isn't strong enough for one another, then maybe you should develop a clean break. Jealousy is available in our mind because we don't know the romance and commitment. Take good care of that to live a satisfied life. Understanding the true reason you are coping in enviousness relationship experience is strongly liberating. In the end, when you're taken in with jealousy, it's not hard to think that your life is spinning unmanageably. When you have taken the logical steps to repair this sort of feeling, you're going to notice that your circumstances are not as frustrating as they seem. The crucial thing to defeating your emotions of jealousy is conversation. In the end, among the best reasons for jealous feelings is unvoiced animosities. You might quietly detest somebody for winning a tournament or scoring better on the test than you. You may sit tense and dissatisfied as somebody compliments your romantic partner. Still, in voicing the origin of the distress, you are able to stay away from the trouble of jealousy relationships prior to starting. You will not just be venting your worries and disappointments, but individuals around you can help you see that it ends up being clear that this sort of feeling is unreasonable. Keeping a diary is as much a different way to overcome your jealousy relationships. Writing, in the end, is recognized as most likely the most restorative means of uploading your stress and anxieties. It is not only a great way to clear the mind, but you will find the benefit of having the capability to really appreciate each day the occurrence once you have calmed down just a little. This enables you to absolutely see the problem from a new perspective. In case your envy is starting to interfere with your personal life or at work, you may want to consider therapy as the second alternative. A counselor can give you a calm, neutral listening ear to vent your difficulties to. In contrast to your friends or relatives, there's no bias or unwillingness to let you know exactly what you should know. He or she can also get an informed, certified background for coping with your own personal problem. Your counselor will have the ability to show you techniques to beat your jealousy in your relationships. But he or she might also be in a position to reveal the primary underlying reasons of this issue. As soon as you have discovered this, you're going to notice that it's considerably simpler to see your emotions of anger and enviousness for what they truly are: insecurities. Romantic jealousy. With regards to romantic envy, it's not hard to lapse into negative attitudes. You might, for instance, feel angry at the individual you are romantically thinking of for choosing another individual. You could even feel upset at the individual he or she chose. You might want to check into this relationship and face them to eventually choose her or him or you. This sort of feeling is totally natural, and you should not be humiliated about it. Still, you should not permit these feelings to rule your life either. What you do with it is what matters most. Despite the fact that the disappointment could be squashing, it will not last forever. Comprehending that is amongst the best steps in working with romantic enviousness. You may feel at the time you will not ever find others. Nevertheless, after a while, the rough immediacy of those feelings will fade, and you are going to see that this occurrence is virtually no need to resign you to a life filled with unhappiness. You will find another person, most likely, and there's a lot of comfort in that. How will you conquer romantic jealousy? While the passing of time is frequently essential for the process of recovery, there are tons of other approaches for you to alleviate your discomfort. Romantic emotions come and then go. Just comprehend that it has a lot to do with hormonal agents, social pressure, oxytocin, dopamine, and other situations. It can be related to the emotions of loss and mourning, the exact same emotions people have when a loved one passes away, and a change of plans. We, as people, normally like to know what will happen in the future, but we just don't. I remember I dated a man, and when it was over between us, I was pretty upset. Not devastated, I guess, but it still hurt. And a long relationship had ended in a bad way. Little did I know, I would meet my terrific husband-to-be a few months later. Chapter 2. Pathology. Pathological envy is an intense conviction that the romantic partner has betrayed. This might lead the individual to control their member of the family, enough where they restrict telephone calls and prohibit them to talk with other individuals. Because of this, they've tightly controlled each element of their partner's life, and they will stay persuaded that it could still happen. Does this seem familiar? When you get faced with any of this, be ensured that you aren't alone. It happens all of the time, even when people try to hide it from the world. If you see your partner or partner acting abnormally possessive, face them about this. Question them why they think they are doing this and why they want to control you a lot. In getting the problem to come to light in whatever confrontational way that you think is best, You may be able to consider the actual reason your romantic partner is demonstrating signs of pathological enviousness. Should you still need to make your relationship work, you can check out a couples counselor connecting to your partner's pathological jealousy. Especially when it comes to pathology, counselors can help you. If you think your partner's actions are rooted in mental disorder, you may want to consider checking out a mental health professional, because these professionals can prescribe medicine in addition to guidance and motivation. You might even be thinking of group therapy sessions for you and your partner's pathological jealousy. You won't just have the ability to vent your problems, but you'll have the ability to comprehend them and also learn from others. Pathological envy might have terrible results on any relationship. In attempting to help cure you and your partner's unreasonable anger, anxiety, and depression, you're both doing your part to develop like a dedicated couple. However, if you think your partner isn't enhancing, you may want to consider ending the relationship. You may have seen Dr. Phil shows in which some relationships were unrealistic to recover. In the end, pathological envy of any level can lead you to being seriously injured, physically, emotionally, and/or emotionally. Chapter 3. Retroactive Jealousy. Retroactive jealousy is an uncommon and not typically acknowledged issue that, however, influences many relationships. Essentially, this kind of jealousy is when you're envious of the partner's prior partners. This can be from your dwelling over the truth that an old partner had a better job than you, to believing that the former partner was more physically appealing or better in bed. Remarkably, retroactive envy is one thing that disturbs both women and guys. It is possible to overcome this sort of feeling, though. Listed here are a number of tips about how to do that in the best way. The most important key to resolving retroactive jealousy would be to recognize this is not a problem that is brought on by your lover. Neither is it a concern stemming out of your partner's other relationships. What many don't understand is just that the true cause of the dispute is that you're insecure or afraid, and in retroactive envy, you are keeping these feelings to yourself. Now, don't get me wrong, there are cases in which the partner still has good feelings for a former partner or compares you way too much. Anybody who knows the smartest rules of the dating game realizes that raising your ex too much is not a great idea. So keep reminding your partner about that if they do it. If they really need to speak about their ex, let them speak with someone else. Regrettably, shedding your jealousy may not be easy, specifically if your partner's previous partner still affects your life in some way. For example, through joint kid custody of their children. Usually, you might feel upset that the partner once thoroughly dated is somebody you understood. Even so, you need to bear in mind that your partner's past need not impact your present relationship. You can begin to look at your feelings of envy by discussing them in more detail together with your partner. Let her or him know your emotions. Discussing your problems right before beginning to fester is an integral part of a great relationship. Another vital part of putting your feelings of jealousy behind you would be to analyze yourself. Do you experience feelings of insecurity within the understanding that the partner once dated others? Instead of endlessly examining your appearance, paycheck, or any other attributes of your partner's past relationships, attempt to remember the positive characteristics that the partner so adores in regards to you. And remember, ultimately your partner chose you, not the others. Finally, in case your low self-esteem causes your feelings of retroactive jealousy to break out, then try distancing yourself from them. Can there be a way to enhance your confidence and improve yourself? If that is the case, take matters into your own hands. In case your insecurities are unsolvable, do your best to put them behind you. Nobody is flawless. Chapter 4. Brother or Sister Rivalry. Remarkably, brother or sister jealousy occurs more often than lots of people think. Most reasons exist why brothers and sisters can experience emotions of envy at actually any age. Noted here are a number of ideas to consider when taking on the problem of sister or brother enviousness. Have you observed that your kids have brother or sister envy in a youthful age? If that's the case, it could be vital to sit them down and discuss the circumstance. Notify them regularly that you do not really love any kid more than another. Do not really show noticeable signs of favoritism. You should try to make your kids go over particular incidents that could invoke feelings of envy. When this is done, you may uncover just why you have this misconception and stop the development of animosities and ill feelings. If you're experiencing sister or brother rivalry together with your brother or sister, potentially you are ready to take a seat and speak to him or her about this. You may be at first reluctant to go over the issue, but gradually, you're going to be much happier that you simply endured. In mastering what's making the other brother or sister envious, you'll be able to get an awareness relating to your role in their envy. Brother or sister rivalry can begin as early as 2 years old. I can still remember when our oldest daughter began showing a bit more bad conduct when the new child was born. Of course, this could be just associated with the age, some stress in the home, or something else. But it was obvious that she would say things like, "No, that is my sister," or "I am your daughter, not her." It's not always simple to compete with your siblings. Instead, just try to be yourself. This sounds too easy, but sometimes it's really anything but that. Exceed your own former achievements, not theirs. Chapter 5. Jealousy in Professions. Jealousy at work isn't an infrequent phenomenon. Unfortunately, envy amongst colleagues could possibly range from uncaring gossip to serious conflicts at work. Whether another person is in charge who would like to ensure that the employees stick to good terms or have work-associated envy yourself, you'll find benefits to conquering professional envy. With regards to facing professional envy, you need to solve the beginning of the conflict as rapidly as possible. Professional jealousy somewhat is much harder to deal with than usual installments of enviousness. In some cases, you may be unable to confront the individual you're jealous of, nor are you in a position to discuss your emotions together with your boss. Nonetheless, the purpose of shedding your emotions of professional enviousness is not so your problems are going to be fixed, but that you'll be in a position to live contentedly regardless of these complaints. In the end, there'll always be good reasons to be jealous. The essential element would be to learn just to accept these reasons and live happily, no matter them. Many people will always out-earn you. Accept that. I know gurus who look up to millionaires and millionaires who look up to billionaires. There will constantly be a person above you, and that's okay, because the people at the top do really need the people at the bottom, despite the fact that some of them may hesitate to admit this. In the end, it is much simpler to accept that someone is cheating their way to a raise, or is just not like you are, with different talents, than to fear that you're going to never get the promotion you have been longing for. With regards to eliminating these anxieties, you really need to bear in mind that if you have worked for a reason and you have got valuable skills which are necessary for your company, try making a summary of these skills, along with other characteristics that you simply feel cause you to overvalue a colleague. Remind yourself throughout occasions of trouble that you're undoubtedly able to achieve fantastic things. You will be astonished at how handy this process is for eradicating feelings of jealousy. Do not let stress get in your way. Chapter 6. Jealousy in Sports. Allow me to start by stating the apparent. Whatever the level that the children in sports contend at, from the recreational to the super serious, the main reason for your role inside your child's sport is to help them learn important life training. Training which will ultimately allow them to become happy, highly functioning, good individuals because they carry out youth and teenage years into their adult years. Sports entertainment, when at the disposal of proper grown-ups, are a fantastic classroom to educate these life trainings. The primary reason for your task in your kids' sport should not be to make certain they start, score more goals than their teammates, beat John or Jane, or wind up in the all-star team. If you feel like winning and to be the best at it are the main goals here, then you're unfortunately incorrect and accidentally directing your kids down the wrong track. They won't mature just because of results, but simply because of overcoming their own weaknesses. It's flawlessly fine for your kids to get a high score, even earn a university grant or go pro. Youth dreams are absolutely vital in encouraging children to feel passion and stand out. However, from your view on it, you should not be pushing your children to earn academic scholarships or to actually make it to the pros. The realistic chances of that happening are extremely slim, and their dreams might get shattered for no reason. To get much better is not a bad thing, but to have fun is an essential element as well. When an athlete does earn that elusive loan or signs that profitable professional agreement, it's only because they worked very hard on it. Any sports player who attains that top degree of efficiency achieves this just simply because they and also their parents know that sports are there to build us up. Sports success always comes naturally from your children enjoying their sport and also the mission and comprehending the right training in the game. There has to be some passion. Your key role here with regards to your child or daughter's sport will be to support them to set objectives, not set these goals for them. That also implies that the process matters more than the actual results. I am certain you've most likely heard about or are conscious of parents who mercilessly driven youngster athletes to be effective. You can even find tales about mothers and dads or some professional athletes who've passed their sports children to this higher level. Truth be told, I personally know a person myself who has done that. Her children have numerous prizes and medals, but they admit that as soon as they left home, they stopped because they didn't care about it. Many people burn up too soon in distress, while some carry deep and long-lasting emotional scars from being forced by their parents' own agendas. Scars which are woven through every aspect of their lives. You really need to keep a long-lasting perspective. There are a lot more substantial things on the line here than winning, playing time, or who scores what. Training that goes along with effort and sacrifice for the quest for excellence means you're learning the reality of failure and that making mistakes and having good sportsmanship, sincerity, stability, respect, and other things are important. Teammates and challengers with fair play collaborating and the requirement to sacrifice me for we by handling failure and success with dignity and other great stories have made it to newspapers. The underdog is popular, and there's a reason for that. How can we teach our children these critical life trainings? Largely by who we seem to be and just how we act. To put it just, your most effective teaching and parenting tool is being a good example. Your children always learn far more from what you are and your actions than from what you tell them. If that's the situation, then please let me know how precisely you are teaching your 12-year-old boy if you get up on the sidelines and noisily criticize another player on his team each time they get something wrong. That could be especially true for team sports such as soccer, volleyball, and basketball. Each time your daughter's teammate, Kim, scores, just what are you teaching your kid when you groan and show your visible annoyance as it happens? What is the lesson there? Will your daughter feel silly when another kid succeeds? Will she resent Kim? She should find that one ought to always be envious and exacerbated of people who have success or who are at a greater level of ability, even if they're colleagues. What became of the idea that the better your teammates, the better your competition, and the higher opportunity you have of standing out and growing as a sports player and also an individual? And because of that, you are blinded from your jealousy to not comprehend that Kim is among the best kids around the team, a real leader and somebody who always raises her colleagues up rather then knocks them down. You have got a necessary role in your kid's sports team. How good you play this role will considerably have a result on your boy or daughter's happiness, self-esteem, learning, and mission for excellence both on and off the field. Keep your games in perspective. Support and encourage your child and everyone on their team. Love your son and daughter unconditionally, regardless of how well they play or the number of mistakes that they make. Make certain that the kid recognizes that you respect and love on their behalf isn't based mainly on the final outcome of the match or their number of minutes on the court. It's all about effort. Tell them you care about them doing their best, and that is good enough. I remember seeing a women's basketball team that played another girls' team. The first team was not really good at basketball. As a matter of fact, they were really awkward. The coach was friendly, a kind woman who appreciated how they felt. She encouraged them to do well, but maybe she could have used a bit more training on how to help girls perfect their plays and abilities. Though the other team was far better, they outscored the first team 8-1 whenever. Eventually, the match was almost over. The losers had a timeout, and their coach told them to keep the other team's rating under 100 points. The girls were thrilled and returned to the court to play. Once the game ended, it was 96-14. The winners had 82 points more than the losing team. But the winners were not the ones cheering. The losing team was delighted because at the very least, they did not allow the other team to score 100 points against them. They cheered and celebrated as if they had won. The girls smiled, hugged their coach, leapt up and down, and went to the showers with relief. The winning team, on the contrary, had their heads down and slumped over, away as though they had just lost. This taught me a lot about perspective. Yes, the better team won, but they didn't really even appreciate their own performance. The losing team had set an attainable objective and was happy with having their expectations met. It was a joy to see this little 9-year-old girl be so excited about losing by that much. Very ironic. Chapter 7. Possessiveness. It's all about being possessive. We want exclusivity, and perhaps that's a good idea for relationships to prosper. But when it gets out of hand, issues appear. I think it's like taking a picture of a person. You capture their image and store it on your computer system or print it. When you do, it's practically like that person belongs to you. You always want to have more, be more, and show off. It's a bit of a greed that goes along with these feelings, but maybe it's made that way for a real reason. When a man takes a look at adult pictures and his female partner catches him, how does he make her feel? Exactly, not loved. She feels as if he isn't satisfied with just her. If he flirts with another lady and that woman flirts back, this could make her resentful to that woman. Someone said, "I definitely understand how it feels. My husband was a little irritated when he was dating me." And another guy with a motorbike stepped up and took me for a ride. The guy was obviously displaying, which became clear by how he flirted with me. And when my then partner, noticed this, he said he didn't like the motorcycle dude. Obviously not. I was his girlfriend. He owned me, right? And maybe this impulse enables us to fight for what we want, to secure our families, or to keep our partners from falling into temptation or damaged relationships. We try to keep families undamaged and happy. But in some cases, we want every little thing. We do not like it when somebody has more skill, more money, a much better partner, a simpler life, or whatever. Not because we hate them, but because we really want it ourselves. And that's just an extreme reality all of us have to accept every now and then. We cannot have every little thing that we want, and if we do, then at least not now. We really need to wait and work towards what we want to have. Many people are in the same boat. Chapter 8. Sexual jealousy. In this chapter, we'll answer the question, how is enviousness associated with sex? We already touched on enviousness between brothers or sisters, in sports, relationships, and at work. In relationships, envy and sexuality are carefully related. They are primal impulses of nature that can work for our benefit or work against us. And we really need to learn how to handle them and use them, not brush these feelings aside. We will discuss this topic in this chapter in the form of some questions and answers. Is sexual enviousness the greatest? Well, it is the most difficult to handle. I'll tell you from a general observation, if we are in a pretty serious relationship with someone, all of us know logically that people can't own him or her, but emotionally, you want to. Anytime we see a hazard to the relationship, it's as if it's a bit of ourselves has been taken. We want to find our other half, the person who finishes us physically and emotionally. And secretively, we don't enable anyone else to get in our way. Human beings are made this way, and I have seen so many people disregard their own emotions because they got swept away by the present trends of indecency and unfaithfulness. And then later, they really wonder why they have been so messed up emotionally. It's just because they break their own nature. Let's say there's no clear hazard. Does not enviousness regularly appear anyway? Freud defined 3 types of sexual enviousness. Regular jealousy is actually a reaction to a genuine hazard. Delusional enviousness is typically seen only in psychotic people. They react to totally unreal clues. For instance, they hear voices within the TV letting them know that their partner is sleeping with the mailman or something. The 3rd type is called forecasted jealousy. An example would be the following. A guy wants to see other women, but he cannot be sincere to himself. His inner duplicity leads him to suspect his woman. And after that, he implicates her to do what he himself intends to do. This sort of enviousness can regularly exist and can lead to suspicion of rivals who have no clues themselves. Do you know exactly what I mean? A structure specialist I know was exceptionally jealous of the men who were at work together with his marriage partner, a girl who managed musical groups. One morning after she finished a consultation, he exploded. "All right, that's it. Who is this Art guy? You have been talking about him on the phone all week," she responded. "Art who?" He got angrier. "You do know him, Art Nievi or Art Nova." Finally, his partner shot back. "That's Art Nouveau, you idiot." And their marriage quickly ended. How else does it appear without a real risk? Insecurity, first and foremost. For instance, a few would go to an event and a person's partner thinks another is having a good time, but a little too good. Blows to the self-esteem loss of employment, illness, or simply general feelings of insufficiency make us weaker to envy. Are women weaker than guys? I'd always heard that, but I found the alternative to be real. It requires more provocation to produce a jealous woman. Why? The very first love both sexes know develops from a girl-mom relationship. As a lady grows, she recognizes herself as using the mother and includes the idea of becoming one herself. So while the possibilities of losing a family member are distressing, a girl can't lose that maternal feeling within herself. A guy, however, should always find that love beyond himself. I have heard many psychologists speak about the first love of a man, about the first sexual experience, and the oxytocin launches that associate with the bonding process in that guy's brain. It's something that so many guys get wrong. They don't wait. They get too curious. And before you know it, their minds have become numb to it, and they have a difficult time bonding with their sexual partner just because they've bonded way too much with previous sexual partners or even virtual pornographic partners. How regularly do envious people keep track of one another? It is common. They begin dealing with wastebaskets, checking phone expenses for unusual figures, driving past a lover's house to decide on what cars are parked there, etc. Frequently, they employ a professional spy. Private investigators let them know a jealousy surveillance could be their primary business venture. Is violence unusual? About 4 or 5 people I spoke with accepted that they'd crashed into their lover's vehicle using their own automobile. Automobile vengeance isn't uncommon. It's the exact same with tossing dishes and ripping up clothes. A good friend once leased an offensive movie and then watched his furniture destroyed by his lover. That isn't just done by psychopaths. I remember talking with a girl who found her parents dead in her home. She discussed it with no feeling. She said that, as a young teen, she entered the home one day and there she found 2 bodies. Her mom chopped up in pieces, an axe next to it, and her dad with a gunshot in his head and a gun beside him. When I asked her why he had done this, she said that it was all because her mom had cheated on him. Do I think that violence can be a healthy way of expressing anger? Absolutely not. Later, these folks think back on this and are traumatized or embarrassed with themselves. Even when it's not an extreme case, like with the teenage girl. Today, people wish to be liberated, yet envious emotions obstruct them from feeling that way. Many people do not like succumbing to such unreasonable emotions. They actually believe they ought to have outgrown such feelings. They know that they have to grow up, but they struggle to do so. So, have liberation and feminism not lowered jealousy? On the contrary, jealousy is going up. Many women working out of the home, for example, means more social situations and far more possibilities for enviousness to show up. Competition and expectations have increased, fulfillment rates are dropping, and tension levels are going up. Some parts of feminism could not have been the best for society's joy. Have you discovered that any open marital relationships have worked? No. Normally, each partner was in a relationship with others all at once, and also to exactly the same degree. Besides, the folks had decided at the outset of the relationship that they're likely to be open sexually, plus they had talked about freely together what types of things made them jealous. Just being sincere and open doesn't mean you should start once your lover feels deceived. Many people are typically in self-denial also. A partner could not admit that he or she will be jealous if the other sleeps with another person, either to justify doing the same or to not be embarrassed about weak feelings of envy and having a mindset of being cool about every little thing. However, secretly, feelings occur anyhow, and if a partner spends more time with someone else, people tend to feel overlooked, alone, disappointed, or neglected. Romantic love has to be unique. What else could you say about individuals who claim they never, ever get envious? They're either extremely safe and secure people in an exceedingly good relationship, plus they truly don't have any reason for envy, or they aren't able to come up to others, or they're lying or rejecting the truth. Should you not care deeply for other people, then you definitely don't get jealous. Frequently, individuals who cannot get near others have sooner or later experienced such agonizing jealousy that, after that, they safeguard themselves to the extreme to never feel that way again. It's not uncommon, and it typically happens in their childhood. How will you increase assurance and trust? People who have the propensity to cheat need to look at their partner as a person who is irreplaceable, even when they have weak points or when they get bored with them. I can still remember talking with somebody who discussed that his partner was so good-looking that she did not have to worry about him ever taking a look at porn, just because it would be a downgrade. Naturally, he said this jokingly, and he knew well that even if you have the most gorgeous woman in the whole universe, you could still get addicted to that stuff. And so, that is why he kept away from it. He didn't undervalue the shackling power of raunchy images, so he avoided it like the plague disease. But to tell her that made him feel special himself because he considered himself the luckiest man in the world. If you become jealous, what is the suggested treatment? It's going to be something like this. 1. Admit that you are jealous of another and feel guilty. 2. Escape. Have a short vacation. 3. Acquire a good night's sleep. A massage or a hot bath will also help. 4. Talk with somebody encouraging. 5. Put your feelings in writing. 6. Meditate on your feelings. They will not be gnawing at you continuously. 7. Keep busy. 8. Read sensible counsel. 9. Laugh. Watch a funny motion picture. Do you think the porn market has a bad influence on enviousness and relationships? Definitely. Addicts watch these pictures and feel either out of control, numbed, apathetic, or envious of the pictures themselves. Photos with exaggerated procreative organs make so many people insecure that they go through surgery, get fake augmentation products, or do whatever else to stand apart more without truly feeling loved. Partners usually feel hurt because they feel like they aren't good or gorgeous enough for their addicted partner. It's a very real pit of anguish, and I advise everybody who isn't addicted to stay away from it. I have heard too many stories of damaged marriages, months of treatment, emotional damage, and even dark stories about trafficked women who are forced or maltreated in this industry. Do yourself, society, and your family and the victims of this industry a favor and find help in case you are an addict. You'll look back and see that you're in a better place. What else would you like to add? Try to build self-confidence so that you will not feel insecure if you lose something or somebody, or if a person does something better than you. If you know your worth, you don't care if a person beats you at something, and you'll be less suspicious in your relationship. Chapter 9. Extreme Jealousy Stories. Here are some stories and quotes from real people, undoubtedly with their names kept secret, that tell the miserable tale of severe envy and its harmful consequences. 1. The jealous Saudi hubby who separated his other half after she kissed a horse. Incriminating images of somebody kissing another person has surely ended many relationships. But this envious spouse needed things a little bit too serious. A Saudi guy divorced his partner after finding an image of her kissing a horse on social media. The unnamed lady specified she'd printed the photo of her horsey smooch in a farm near Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, herself. She added that her divorce hasn't made her remorse kissing the horse, and that she wasn't upset by splitting from the man who can't separate people and beings. She also specified she's very happy with the image simply because it reveals her passion for Arabian horses. 2. Britain's most envious girl makes her man have a lie detector test each time he leaves the home. A woman who makes her spouse have a lie detector test to show he has been loyal each time he leaves the home continues to be recognized as having an unusual condition that activates delusional envy. She is really paranoid that her partner will, so she also checks his phone, email, options, and bank statements several times each day for proof of infidelity. The spouse who began dating her this year, once they met via a friend, is even prohibited from watching women on television or looking at images of them in gossip columns. Doctors have found the lady is fighting with Othello syndrome, a mental disorder which triggers sufferers to think their partners happen to be unfaithful, even without proof. 3. The envious partner who used a fundraising event to crash a sweetheart's spring break vacation. Miami, Florida is amongst the most widely used trip destinations within the United States. Having said that, for one man, watching his girlfriend go to the town of the beautiful landscapes and other beautiful individuals was an extreme amount to deal with. He started a fundraising event to improve money, enough to go to Miami to get along with his girlfriend, so she wouldn't be enticed to cheat on him at the time of spring break. He made his original plea online, where he danced an excellent line between dedicated boyfriend and bona fide stalker. Clearly, he got $360 from 29 different contributors in only 8 days online. He later updated his page to make everyone understand that the girlfriend had met up and that they're enjoying their spring break together. 4. The man who had been pushed to choose between his sweetheart and jealous ex-partner after both jumped into a river to determine who he would save initially. A guy found himself in a sticky circumstance when his current girlfriend and the ex both put themselves right into a river to figure out which one he loved most likely the most. This happened in China, and the partner had determined after some conflicts to bring them together. Once they were all in Ningbo, in eastern China's Zhejiang province, the issue went from bad to worse. The women started quarreling. The man's ex-girlfriend felt insulted with a comment made by his current girlfriend, so she jumped into the river, provoking her former lover to save her. His current girlfriend, fearing he may certainly start to save his ex-lover, then leaped in as well. The guy fixed the problem by jumping in the water in order to save his present sweetheart, after which he took her to the health center. His brother, who was a firefighter, then saved his ex later. They showed up at the scene and helped the sad woman from the water. 5. The jealous spouse who sliced off her cheating spouse's penis 2 times. After finding that her 32-year-old spouse was cheating in a Henan province, his spouse chopped off his penis as they were resting in their bedroom. The man's penis was reattached by cosmetic surgeons, but his marriage partner checked out a healthcare facility room where he stayed and sliced off his healing genitalia again. Every little thing began when the spouse didn't remember to sign off his wife's mobile phone after delivering a naughty email to his 21-year-old adulterous lover. She went mad when she saw the email. After chopping his genitals off for the second time, she threw his penis out of the medical facility window. It was never found and is thought to have been taken by stray cats or dogs. And it becomes worse, simply because, after that, a pornography company offered him a job, happy to help him financially and doing more surgery to restore his manhood. 6. The president who gave the right response to a woman's envious partner. A citizen standing next to the President of the United States just because he was casting his early tally for that 2014 midterm election in Chicago warned the commander-in-chief said, "Don't touch my girlfriend." The man was waiting consistent with his sweetheart when President Barack Obama showed up in the station in Chicago. The flabbergasted Obama responded, "I truly was not thinking of it." 7. The jealous man who assaulted his ex-girlfriend when he was having a cornetto. In November 2014, an ex-boyfriend who got envious when his previous partner told him she was seeing another person assaulted her having a cornetto. The furious man responded by grabbing a cornetto that one of the 2 children was eating and attempted to stuff it into her mouth. She required the police battle, but the last thing an authority operator heard was the seam of her shouting. The mom was left with a face filled with frozen deals with a broken lip and a bruised face. The man didn't have previous crimes in his name, but he was put on trial for attacking his partner of 4 years. His legal representative attempted to excuse him by saying she'd taunted his client with intimate information concerning her sex life using the unnamed other man. No matter the bust-up, the feuding couple is actually together again. Isn't really love sweet? 8. The envious man who smashed his sweetheart's laptop, having actually seen a photograph on her behalf Facebook page and suspecting being a cheater, although it was just a picture of Mitt Romney. A violent, overbearing partner punched his sweetheart and smashed her computer system after becoming envious of the picture of Mitt Romney released on her Facebook page. He had implicated her of being a cheater and having seen a strange man on her Facebook page. He was ultimately charged with domestic attack and locked up. 9. The jealous girlfriend who stabbed a guy to death who only was texting his boss. In March 2015, a Bronx man texting his boss to tell him he'd be late for work was stabbed to death by his jealous sweetheart, who thought he was texting another girl. He was frequently stabbed in the torso in the middle of the fight with his sweetheart in their apartment. The fight started after he texted his supervisor notifying him that he'd be late. The girl became angered because she thought he was texting another girl. The innocent guy was pronounced dead in the health center. The girl, that has no previous arrests, was apprehended at the scene. This has been Jealousy, Possessiveness, and Envy in Relationship and Beyond. Written by Lindsay Baines. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Copyright 2020 by Lindsay Baines. Production copyright by Lindsay Baines. Jealousy. Signs and Solutions to Deal with Jealous Feelings. Written by Lindsay Baines. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Introduction. So, you've met the love of your life, and you're going to live happily ever after, right? Wait, who's that one person your life partner's talking to? They appear to know each other well. They're laughing together. Oh, they're touching one another's shoulders. They can't do that. Uh-oh. Put on the brakes right there. The green-eyed beast appears to have taken a hold of you. When you saw your partner with another individual, did you feel restless or threatened that you will be changed somehow? Were you suspicious about the entire setup? Did you think as though they were laughing about you behind your back? Did you feel betrayed? Did the witch from Snow White give you a harmful apple and, after that, fled? If you answered yes, then you have come down with the powerful and often hazardous feeling called enviousness. Envious people are generally caught in an unfavorable cycle of distrust, hurt, anger, unhappiness, resentment, and even violence. It does not feel good, does it? Do not stress. You are not the only one in the world who feels that way. The good news is that you can get rid of jealousy and even use it to make a much better version of you. Are you ready to take back control of your life? Do you want to be free from all the unnecessary pain and hurt? Then now is the time to stop the cycle of negativity in your life. This audiobook can help you understand and accept envy. Recognize the signs of envy. Take control of your feelings. Defeat enviousness and its negative impacts on your life. Be empowered to use envy as a positive building block in your life. Learn how to have better and healthier relationships. Continue listening and take control of your life. Stop letting enviousness create chaos in your life. You can do it. Chapter 1. Learning more about jealousy. Congratulations! You have made the right decision to listen to this audiobook. You took the initial step to taking back your life. This audiobook will help you gain a much better understanding of why envy had taken a hold in your life. In this chapter, you'll be given a background on envy, which will lead you to get a better grasp of what it is, how, and why it happens. From when did it start, and its results on your life. In order to get rid of something, you must initially learn more about it. Learn to comprehend it and recognize why it is affecting you. So what is envy? Jealousy is an age-old, affective, and usually frustrating feeling that can influence anybody at any time in any situation. You can be old, young, wealthy, poor, female, male, the list goes on, and jealousy can still settle in you. More officially, envy is a feeling resulting from an anticipated hazard of losing something or somebody already in your possession to another individual. A lot of times it produces feelings of suspicion that you're going to be betrayed, which, in turn, spurs on your competitive side. For example, you can't really believe that your partner is just friends with his or her ex, although they're just that. Aside from that, even when there's no real competition, you then try to replicate and even upstage the ex because you think this will cause your partner to choose you over the ex. Is enviousness the same as envy? Do not confuse enviousness with envy. These two are usually connected together, but they are quite unique from one another. Envy means desiring what another person has. It usually emerges from discontent with your own circumstance. That feeling focuses more on wishing for, like seeing your neighbor's new automobile and wishing it was yours. So where and when does envy begin? Love between two people typically begins with emotions of rightness and excellence. You feel that the other individual is flawless for you, even though what you don't realize is that people can change at any time. You could have invested in your relationship for as long as 10 years. And after that, someplace down the roadway, you feel like something is different. You then start to doubt and believe that something wrong is happening. You need to realize that things and people change. Your partner could be sick of your relationship, or perhaps you have changed also, and thus the characteristics of your relationship have changed. It just depends on how you view any change to your relationship. Is envy something to be ashamed of? Yes and no. Jealousy is a natural event. It is actually implanted in human nature. It is safe to say that most, if not everyone, has experienced this emotion at one point to their lives to a degree. In little dosages, envy can even bring excitement for you and your partner. For example, you could feel flattered that your partner gets jealous when other individuals watch you walk past. You could take it to mean that your partner thinks you are stunning enough to gather such enthusiastic feelings in him or her. Jealousy can be outrageous once it ends up being persistent and uncontrollable to the person of blinding you to what's right and what's wrong. An example would be the following. You feel irrationally envious of your partner's brother or sister when they spend time together, just because you want your partner all to yourself. Why does enviousness happen? In a nutshell, enviousness takes place because we are afraid of losing what we have. It is usually a learned behavior. You shared experiences in life that have influenced and formed you to who you are today. For that reason, these factors determine how you react and feel in certain situations. For instance, you may find yourself sleuthing through your present partner's cellular phone because your ex-partner cheated on you, and you want to make sure it doesn't happen to you again. In some cases, there's a legitimate and logical reason for jealousy, but there are also times when there is only a viewed hazard of loss and there's no real cause to feel envious. It could also be caused intentionally or unintentionally. Miserable to say, there are people that enjoy making others feel envious, either by showing excessive affection towards another person or by betraying a loved person's trust just because they can. On the other hand, an individual's insecurity, low self-confidence, and general emotions of inadequacy can cause imaginary problems that result in unreasonable jealousy. Way too much time on your hands can also trigger you to think too much until you start to compromise things in your mind. Am I the only person that gets jealous? No, jealousy isn't unique to anyone. As mentioned, it can be felt by anybody associated with a relationship. Even effective the ones with high IQs, high-paying jobs, powerful positions, or even those in present steady relationships can get jealous at one point in their lives. It is all just a matter of the individual understanding to manage the emotion effectively. Is jealousy dangerous? Yes. Unrestrained enviousness regularly branches out to many other negative emotions, such as animosity, hatred, anger, rage, fear, anxiety, sorrow, and helplessness. One of the main effects of these feelings is insecurity, which is an uncertainty in oneself. Jealousy can be like a toxin to your relationships. It is a home wrecker. It is a thief of your potential happiness. Unchecked, it may even lead to physical violence. There are many cases in which people go to great lengths just to protect what they have. Some even commit murder simply because of enviousness. Do I have the actual right to be envious? Yes and no. There are times when there is nothing actually wrong, but there are also times when your instincts were right. You learn that your partner is lying and cheating on you. You really need to assess circumstances individually and see if you have a legitimate reason or not. Can I control enviousness? Honestly, it can be hard to control, but you should do yourself a favor and don't let it overwhelm your life. You have the choice to let it empower you to better yourself. There is a wealth of information and tools found in this audiobook to help you. You should use them, and you can rise from jealousy and its ill results. Also, take comfort that you are not the only one. So yes, you can certainly control envy and beat it at its own game. The next few chapters will explore and discuss in depth the many signs of envy. The few different subjects will be explained and broken down into how they manifest in individuals' behaviors, what the repercussions of these habits, and plenty of tips will be given on how to overcome these signs of jealousy. Chapter 2, Sign Number 1. Feeling unworthy of love? Just look in the mirror and be honest. What do you see? Do you see a genuinely happy person? Or somebody hiding behind a mask? Do you feel unworthy of love? This chapter will go over how your inner feelings and perception of yourself affect your relationships. When you are in a relationship, especially an intimate one, you tend to open yourself up, which can make you feel vulnerable. Finding the right balance between loving yourself and your partner can be tricky. Vulnerability leaves you open up to a range of affective emotions, and if you're inclined to feeling insecure, then you and your partner are in for an emotional roller coaster ride. Insecurity usually goes hand in hand with envy. It is when you feel bad about yourself and you try to project these negative feelings onto others. Your self-esteem is low, and in your eyes, you are not really worth much. So you always ask yourself, how can anyone love me? This quality stems from within yourself and negatively affects how you respond to certain situations. You might feel that you are not worthwhile of somebody's love. You feel that a person is always better than you, and you are self-critical. At times, you are your own worst nemesis. There are people who let their enviousness take complete control of them, that they have failed to look after themselves. They put on weight as a result of emotional eating, or they don't have the energy to get up in the morning, and they do not groom themselves anymore. Does this seem like you? On the other hand, you could learn the loss of self-confidence in yourself from your experiences. A person in your past may have treated you in a way that had emotionally scarred you. For instance, your parents might have gone through a divorce when you were young. You lived with your dad and he remarried shortly after. New brothers or sisters came along and you got neglected by your dad. From this experience, what you probably eliminated was that love is unstable, and once a person new shows up, you're going to be abandoned. How does insecurity manifest itself in behaviors? When you are insecure in a relationship, you are always scared of being abandoned by your partner. You always question yourself just because of the uncertainty in yourself. At times, you begin to feel so insecure that you just want to hide away because you feel like things are never going to get better. You find yourself always looking for peace of mind from your partner, and you always want to feel needed. Paranoia also shows up in your behavior because when you question yourself, chances are you also doubt others, particularly your partner. You are always anxious and concerned about your status in life. You always believe to yourself, does my partner still love me or not? What are the effects of insecurity? The more you really believe something about yourself, the more you believe it is a regular thing for everybody else. Could you be forecasting your negative emotions onto your partner, thus provoking your own emotions of insecurity and enviousness? Sometimes when your brain begins to actually believe something, it also starts to create pictured situations in your mind that can trigger havoc in your relationship. In this event, you're going to also block any kind of realistic explanations that do not match your inner belief system. This obviously results in communication issues. You can't have a proper discussion equals when insecurity blankets over your relationship. When open communication is bad, it breaks down the relationship and drives a wedge between you and your partner, often repelling your partner. You feel less connected to your partner, then the envy cycle starts again. Having such a low viewpoint of yourself can also be unappealing because when you have all these negative thoughts in your head, it shows in your physical appearance and disposition. Beware, the way you present yourself will have an impact on other individuals. If you think you aren't worthwhile, they might just begin to really believe you. When that happens, you begin to repel people because of your negativity. The result is you dig much deeper into your suffering and you become lonely and depressed. How do you get rid of insecurity? First, you should learn how to take ownership of your feelings. Accept all elements of yourself, the good and the bad. Concentrate on your good qualities and use these to build yourself up. You can even create a mantra like, "I'm a good individual and I'm worthy of love." Say it in front of a mirror 10 times straight, 3 times a day. Ultimately, it will end up being a habit and you will begin to believe it. When you accept yourself, you should also learn how to accept others. You should understand that everybody is special and not everybody thinks as you do. Do not think that you are going to be discarded simply because your partner is talking with another person. Learn how to voice your emotions and feelings eloquently. Peaceful and calm words have never, ever damaged anyone. Motivate open communication between you and your partner. Do not be judgmental. Make a list of the advantages and disadvantages of your situation. Analyze why you are feeling that way and then make an action plan on how to deal with any problems. Try to find support and guidance from your family and friends. Let them help uplift you with their love and love. If no one is available, you can always seek counseling guidance from an expert relationship specialist. Do you have any unique interests? You can take extra classes to hone your abilities and update your marketability. Accomplishing something tangible, like completing a course, can boost your self-confidence and increase your self-worth greatly. Have you let yourself go? Were you caught up in your insecurities that you have overlooked your body? Go and register for a fitness center membership for a fast repair. Go get a new haircut and get a makeover. Being independent means being free and empowered. Learn how to depend on yourself instead of others. Assert yourself and be in control of your own life. Maybe you could sign up for driving lessons if you haven't learned how to drive yet. Prioritize yourself. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Learn to really love yourself initially and to stop counting on your partner to give you affection. Once you have done that, whatever hold someone has on you, you'll be significantly decreased. Furthermore, self-esteem is an appealing quality. Your partner will find it hot. Face your fears. Go forth and dominate this nasty monster inside you. If you feel that your relationship has reached skyrocketing levels of toxicity, do yourself a favor and give yourself some breathing room. Live your life for yourself till you learn how to be content with yourself. If your partner is the right one, he or she will be waiting when you're all set. Happiness is a choice. Choose to be happier. Call your good friends. Go out and have a good time. In moderation, obviously. You can also do other things that will bring you pleasure. Help out in a shelter or volunteer in the community. Helping another person will satisfy your need to be really wanted. You'll also see many kinds of people in different circumstances, and you may understand that your circumstance isn't so bad after all. Chapter 3. Sign number 2. Control freak. Are you the kind of individual who wants every little thing to be done your way? Do you feel the need to dictate what your partner can or can't do? Are you scared that your relationship will be in threat if you let it run its free course? Do you feel envious when your partner doesn't give you your expected level of love and attention? If these seem like you, then you may just be what they call a control freak. This chapter will explore all about control and the different ways it can impact your relationship. In personal relationships, the term control freak refers to people who feel like they have the right to control each detail of the relationship. They also have the need to mold their loved ones into the ideal partners. Here's an example. They only really want their partners to wear a particular kind of clothes, or they want to dictate how their partners show certain people. They are also under the impression that if you control people, then you can certainly control results to your taste. It provides an increased sense of power and authority, which, in turn, feeds the modified reality that they at times have in their minds. Ultimately, when they get envious when things don't go their way. Control, when exercised responsibly, can actually be a good thing. Your partner might be bad with financial resources and can't stop spending on unnecessary items. If you are capable, you may take charge of the monetary situation and control your partner's spending practices. In this case, you are actually helping your partner in a positive way. And this is a good example of control being used in a reasonable and productive manner. Still, you have to bear in mind that when you are in a relationship with a person, both of you have the actual right to be your own personality. What happens in many relationships is that, as time goes on, one of you may begin to feel as if you own the other individual and that you have the right to control each aspect of your partner's life. A quality that's typically linked to control is possessiveness. It's also originated from an important need to completely dominate others, so as to control another person. It's caused by a self-centered need in people to keep their possessions, including people, to themselves. They most likely didn't like sharing back in kindergarten. Caution is suggested simply because some actually mistake control and possessiveness for love. They feel as if their partner takes care of them just because they innocently think that their partner only wants their love and attention, not recognizing that they're just being manipulated. How about you? Maybe you don't want your partner to hang out with your friends or family. Have you ever discouraged this by saying that your partner loves you less if he or she spends time with other individuals? Be alerted. You are being manipulative and controlling, and you might be destroying your relationship. How does the need to control others manifest in behaviors? The need to control manifests into so many ugly habits, such as wanting to monopolize your partner's attention, spying through their personal belongings, and isolating your partner from friends and family. You might also feel upset when you aren't being included. You grumble about your partner not spending enough time with you, even if you spend most of your time together, and essentially are just trying to run the other person's life. Controlling people also tend to have brief tempers, especially when things don't go their way. They end up being moody, highly irritable, and of course, extremely envious. They could also talk to people in a condescending way, believing that they're better than anyone. Making people feel inferior is just one of their leisure activities to make themselves feel remarkable and to make their partner more dependent on them. Control freaks typically force their partners to do something that will fit their ideal visions, even if their partners don't like it. This can be as unusual as dictating what food their partners can eat. They will use their partner's emotions and withdraw affection till their partners give in to them. They are also never at fault. If something goes wrong, they are always blaming somebody else. This is why they also have average problem-solving skills. It's hard for them to handle the emotions connected with not getting the result they had mapped out in their minds. Their normal solution to issues is to blame the other individual. What are the effects of controlling behaviors? Animosity is free to reign in a relationship where a single person controls the other, and there is no give and take. The inferior party will eventually feel suffocated and rebel against the dominant one. When that happens, what control freaks don't want to happen will happen. The affected partner will leave, and even if they don't leave yet, they will lose respect and refuse to comply with the dominant partner. Since they have low tolerance for not getting their way, they are vulnerable to catching psychological health issues like depression and obsessive-compulsive conditions. There are no winners in the breakdown of relationships and damage of somebody's health. Is it truly worth having your way, but losing what you were afraid of losing in the first place? How do you get rid of the need to control others? There is some good news. There are ways to tame down your need to control and preserve your relationship. Just admit that you're controlling. Take the step to realize why you feel the need to control. Was it because of a previous experience? If so, evaluate what occurred in the past and work out what took place and why. Understand yourself better. Recognize triggers of your need to control. Is just one of them the fear of losing your loved one? If that is the case, then you need to reevaluate your behavior. You could well lose what you are most scared of losing just because of your controlling ways. Stop. Listen. Communicate with your partner freely. Let her or him talk, and do not interrupt. You can say something later. Encourage a totally free-flow discussion with no criticism. Change your mindset and accept situations as they come. Go with the flow and be more flexible. If controllers truly, really love their partners, they will let them be free with their decisions. Partners have to be trusted to know what benefits them individually. You will be surprised. Your partner might even reward you with affection for the positive changes obvious in you. Learn to control your anxiousness by going to treatment or a support group. You can also try speaking with a person who will keep your story private. Bottling it up inside can cause you to blow up one day. Having a supportive ear to listen to your issues can also be reassuring for you. You can change the way you speak to people. You can still say your opinion, just don't force others to accept it if it really is against their views. Nobody wants to be pushed to do something they don't want to do. You must learn to appreciate other individuals. Chapter 4. Indication number 3. Caught up in the past. Are you stuck on your partner's past relationships? Do you find yourself incessantly asking your partner about them so that you can compare your relationships? Do you feel just as though you need to gauge up against the ex? This chapter aims to help you understand what took place in the past ought to stay in the past. It will explain why digging up the past isn't a good thing for your relationship and what you should do to avoid doing so. People usually forget that when they first meet their partners, that they were attracted to qualities they saw there and then. They participated in a relationship with them for who and what they were at the time, without knowing about their past. So, you should remember not to be jealous of past relationships because whatever happened back then obviously didn't work. And that is exactly why they no longer exist in the present. Then again, if your partner committed a prior indiscretion against you, then you really need to ask yourself why you still feel envious about this. There has to be a reason you're still together, right? If you made the decision to accept it, then you must follow through. Keep in mind that if something is no longer appropriate, then it won't be helpful in your current situation. How does being stuck to the past manifest in behaviors? Digging up the past actually comes from insecurity and jealousy. You are not secure in your current relationship for some reason. You are continually bringing up the ex, yours or your partner's, and hashing out each detail of past relationships. You might also keep comparing yourself to the ex. It can look like you are on an archaeological dig mission, asking your partner anything and everything about the ex, such as intimacy levels, personal conversations, what they did together, etc. You may also be unnecessarily inquiring about the ex's personal qualities. Was he or she funny, adorable, tall, understanding, rich, poor? You don't really need to know these. Then, when you undoubtedly have arguments, you can use information about the past in your existing arguments. Can you see that it is such a vicious cycle? Ask yourself why you are so fixated on the past. Is your partner doing something to make you do so, or is it just you? Why are you so scared to lose your beloved? Perhaps you also have some negative thoughts you are predicting towards your partner. What are the effects of being caught up in the past? Imagined situations could become reality. If you are constantly mentioning someone, you are keeping that individual in your partner's everyday thoughts. This is very dangerous just because you could be inadvertently reminding your partner about the good old times with his or her ex. Your worst headache just might become a reality, and your partner could return to the ex. Bringing up the past also develops a damaging cycle of minor arguments, which are damaging to your relationship. It prevents proper resolution of your issues. Additionally, when you keep comparing yourself to your partner's past lovers, you are actually demeaning yourself in the worst way possible. You could be requiring your partner to believe that you and the ex are on the same level right now. And since you are so aggravatingly insistent, he might start to believe that the ex is the better choice. How do you get rid of being caught up in the past? Stop comparing yourself to your partner's ex. Remember and understand that you're with your partner now. There is a reason they did not stay together. You are two different people. You must liberate yourself from this conduct and move your relationship back into a two-way party. Stop relating your ex to your present partner. They are not the same people. You broke up with your ex for a good reason also. Remember that whatever your ex did for you in the past didn't work or was inadequate to keep you together. Focus on the present and have regular healthy evaluations of your relationship. You could set a time and place that are just for the two of you. Talk about any questions you may have in a diplomatic way. Solve problems immediately. Don't enable them to remain. It is best to talk about any problems before going to bed. Don't go to bed upset. Tomorrow could be too late. Make a guideline not to bring up past arguments and past lovers. Eradicate them from your mind. They're a waste of your brain cells. In specific, you need to stop bringing past lovers into your present lives because they probably do not even remember you. Do not give them the power to break your relationship. Make a list of what you are skeptical or jealous about regarding the past. Show it to your partner and open a calm and tranquil discussion. Clarify to your partner the reasons you are asking. When every little thing is laid out in black and white, it is much easier to see why you are feeling insecure about something. Be open with one another. Leave no stone unturned. If people want to lay every little thing before their partners, then there are even fewer chances for everybody to compromise their stories in their minds. This will also allow trust to thrive in the relationship. Be familiar with your partner's loved ones. Your partner's support network can also provide support for you. They have loads of information about your loved one that you can access to gain a better understanding of your partner. Face your fears. What you are most scared of usually is the unknown. If you are brave enough, and if possible, befriend your partner's ex so that the unknown will become real to you. You can see up close that he or she isn't so flawless after all. Aside from that, who knows? You may even wind up being the best of friends. If you feel that your relationship has hope and you want to stick with your partner, you should learn how to forgive and let go. If you cannot let go, perhaps it is time to re-examine your relationship and find out where you stand. Chapter 5. Sign number 4, Delusional Love. This chapter will explore enviousness's ominous and darker side. Everybody gets that periodic pang of jealousy, but some people take it to the extreme. They end up being so obsessed with their partner that what used to be love can turn into something menacing. There's actually a term for this obsessive sort of enviousness: Othello syndrome. Othello was a character in Shakespeare's play. He was a terrible character who was convinced and tricked into believing his wife was having an affair. He killed her out of enviousness, but later discovered that he was wrong and that his partner was innocent. Othello committed suicide after. Psychologically, Othello's syndrome describes a condition where people are delusional in thinking that their partners are betraying them. People who have this condition are usually hazardous, obsessive, and exceedingly envious. Unfortunately, people blinded by envy can't control their actions any longer. They can even reach a point where they are physically acting out the misconceptions they have in their mind. For instance, Jane enjoys her spouse, but he goes berserk when another guy speaks with her. He resentfully actually believes that she has affairs with every guy she comes in contact with. He hits her when they get to the house and tells her it is all her fault. Till one day he hit her hard enough on the head that she ended up in a coma. At times, you are better off alone than to be with a person who is remarkably envious and delusional. How does delusional love manifest in behaviors? As we discussed, the common core of jealousy-fueled relationships where one partner is delusional includes the continuous belief that the other partner is unfaithful. This results in frequent accusations of cheating. Delusional partners subject their lovers to aggressive interrogations concerning their actions, which include: where have you been? Who were you with? Why did you take so long? Who were you talking with? And so on. This manifestation results in the need to continually explore their partner's possessions to confirm their delusion of cheating. Do you always try to find evidence? Perhaps you have taken spying to a higher level and you actually appear at your partner's work environment unexpectedly, wanting to catch him or her in the act. At times, those experiencing Othello syndrome also evaluate their partner's loyalty. Their partners undergo circumstances formed and controlled by them. They generally throw obstacles and temptations at their partners to see how they would respond. An example of this would be creating an incorrect online identity and trying and talk with their partners. They would then try to flirt with them and lure them to commit infidelity. Delusional partners are also normally, if not always, violent in one way or another. They are violent mentally, physically, or emotionally. They specifically take it to heart when they view their partners are betraying them. It could be real or thought of. Are you in a violent relationship? If you are, get out now. It does not matter who the guilty one is, you need to stop your relationship before either one of you gets hurt. What are the effects of delusional love? The strength of feelings in cases of Othello syndrome slowly build up from traces of doubt to bring consumed daily by fixations to developing altered realities in the mind, causing the day when these are physically acted out. There are many serious consequences to delusional love. The primary thing that is certain to happen is total relationship breakdown. A lot of times there is no going back in these situations. a tomb. And permanent consequence is the ultimate act of violence. Murder. That's what happens when delusional partners reach their snapping point. A typical trigger is when their partners leave the relationship. Since the items of their fixations are no longer available to them, then they feel that no one else needs to have them also. You can find various cases of relationships that end in murder. Like Othello, they also commit suicide afterwards just because they cannot live without their partners. Even though in some cases they don't physically hurt their partners and just commit suicide. Abuse is the normal outlet of delusional partners. Their partners typically suffer from extreme fear, sexual assault, physical injuries, emotional and psychological trauma, stress, and anxiety. The victims typically develop mental illness as they can't handle all of the abuse they get. Domestic violence is one of the most important reasons for emergency clinic visits. Another consequence is that the victimized partners are generally isolated from their family, good friends, or other loved ones. Their partners restrict their interaction with other people to the point that they lose contact with everyone but their crazed partners. Sometimes when delusional partners continuously implicate and interrogate them, the victims are forced to giving incorrect confessions just to stop all of the excessive pressure. They may concur that, yes, they are having affairs just because they are so exhausted. However, there are also circumstances where incorrect confessions lead to actual affairs. Since they are being implicated of infidelity, they might, too, really do it. There are also a lot of victims who get away from violent relationships, but in some cases their suffering does not end there. Stalking is a real issue when a relationship ends and the delusional partner is not prepared to let go. Delusional partners often end up being stalkers. They follow their victims' every action and show up at their houses unwelcome. They proclaim their extreme love for them. Stalking could go on for weeks and even years. They also feel that their victims are just playing hard to get, and that eventually they will fall back in love with them. Since delusional partners are vulnerable to rage, they at times take it out on their partner's things, or those whoever they perceive as a hazard to their relationship. Property damage can include burning down homes, keying sides of automobiles, vandalizing properties, and generally just breaking down everything that is in their path. How do you conquer delusional love? This really serious and harmful issue is hard to get rid of. There are steps that you can require to do so, but you should be serious about seeing them through. Your first step is to take a deep breath and just unwind. Then, stop the relationship. Go cold turkey from the relationship and just take a break. A volatile relationship is unhealthy and no fun for anyone. At times, breaking away is the best thing to do, just because the existing environment of your relationship may be just suffocating to both of you. Your best and most urgent objective is to look for professional help from mental health specialists, no matter if you happen to be the victim or the abuser. They will help you and could recommend medication if they identify an actual mental disorder. There is no embarrassment in this. A lot of people suffer from mental disorders and they actually become better with the right kind of help. Learn to separate reality from the make-believe circumstances in your head. Do not let your imagination run away with you. Tell someone. Reconnect with your friends and family. You may be surprised at the outpouring of support you're going to get. Clarify the situation and ask them to hold you liable. You may really need to stay with them for a while so you won't quickly fall into the traps of delusional thinking. Examine your relationship. Do you love your partner, or have you violated the limits of love? You may think love is what you feel, but in fact, you are just obsessed. If you are the victim, ask yourself, is it worth it to stay? Your life might be in danger. If you feel that you can still repair the relationship, accept to go to counseling together. You have reached the point where talking between you two isn't working any longer. You really need to meet a counselor on neutral grounds. Meditate. Release all those bad feelings that you're holding in. Meditation has helped countless people attain better health, happiness, and self-discipline. Chapter 6, Sign number 5, Fault Finder. Jealousy is a vicious feeling, and one way it manifests in people is through fault finding. This chapter will look at why fault finding signifies jealousy and how you can be more aware if you are doing it or not. So, are you a fault finder? Do you find yourself chronically looking for faults in people? It might be something as basic as commenting on how funny their outfit looks or slamming the way they do something. This inherent need to find faults stems from your own insecurity, fear, selfishness, and jealousy. You feel that when you find faults in other people, you are better than them. You are feeding your insecurity at the expense of other individuals. You are also in some way attempting to justify your own faults. When people constantly find faults in their partners, they are, in a way, showing their partners that they are unsatisfactory and that they are fortunate to have them. In this way, they feel like they are keeping their partners attached to them by making them feel that nobody else will love them. Do not confuse fault-finding with healthy, positive criticism. This is when you point out mistakes in a favorable way and you give guidance for the betterment of the other individual. You should also beware when distributing constructive criticism to your partner. You really need to be sensitive and determine the right timing and settings for this to be reliable. Fault finding. Rather than praising your partner for their good qualities, you always see their defects and imperfections. You are constantly pointing these out to the point of being obsessive about it. You will never let your partner get away with even the tiniest mistake. Nothing is ever good enough for you. It's as if you are setting up inaccessible standards for your partner, and when your requirements aren't met, you delight in telling your partner. It is just as if you want them to struggle. In addition, you always grumble about your partner and that he or she is the one to blame when things do not go your way. You might say it's because they're silly, worthless, or any other negative word you know will put them down. You blame your partner for everything, even if it's nobody's fault. You belittle your partner with every chance you get. You always have something to say about your partner's hair, body, clothes, job, and after that, you elaborate on the negative things you see in them. Efforts by your partner are also never acknowledged, and you don't stop arguing until your partner gives up and admits that he or she is wrong. You also brush off whatever your partner has to say. You believe that your partner is inferior to you. Humiliation is also typical with fault finders, simply because of their jealousy. They love to humiliate their partners in front of any person they feel is a hazard to their relationship. They want the other individuals to believe that their partners are not really good enough so that they will not attempt to take their partners away. What are the repercussions of fault finding? Fault finders are generally embroiled in drama. Their consistent nagging ways can cause their partners to lose their tempers, which cause regular arguments. Do you find yourself arguing with your partner over the tiniest little things like what color tea towels you should purchase? Partners of fault finders normally take a beating to their self-confidence. They are scared to act because of the fear of doing something to annoy their partners. Even if they are really at fault, they will become defensive at any hint of criticism, and thus preventing them from actually improving themselves. Ultimately, resentment and contempt will grow in the partners of fault finders. If you beat people down constantly, they will ultimately dislike you or perhaps hate you. They will lose respect for you and may even mock you. When your partner hates you, it normally leads to a loss of intimacy. Your partner will lose libido for you because they associate you with negative emotions. Nagging and constant criticism will trigger people to keep from you, and they will make many excuses to do so. Since your partner will be keeping away from you, communication breakdown is certain to happen in your relationship. Who wants to speak to someone who always finds faults with you? They won't want to listen to you. Eventually, all of the effects result in relationship breakdown. If you are a chronic fault finder, chances are your partner is itching to get away from you to find another individual who will give them a loving and peaceful relationship. How do you get rid of being a fault finder? You should recognize that fault finding is spiteful and malicious. Keep away from doing this in any of your relationships, particularly with your life partner. Manage your expectations. Admit that you are a fault finder. Look at your own actions and ask yourself why you are doing this. Perhaps you have a problem with yourself that you really need to prepare first. Treasure who and what you have. Focus on your partner's positive qualities and attributes. Be generous with compliments and give credit where credit is due. Understand that your partner is not the same as you. Your capabilities are different from one another, and maybe your partner is having a hard time doing something that seems simple to you. Help your partner in a loving way rather than brandying about useless criticisms. Increase your own self-regard so you do not really need to stoop down to fault finding. Occupy yourself with other activities so that you don't have way too much time to focus on anyone else's faults. Concentrate on improvements. Make sure to use useful criticism at the right times and moderately. Nobody likes being criticized, not even yourself. Make sure to find an ideal environment and ask your partner initially if they really want advice or not. Are you with the right other half? Perhaps you are always finding faults because your partner isn't the right person for you. Reevaluate your relationship and see if you should stay together or if you really need to break up. There is no point in sticking with the wrong person. Find options to problems instead of just rehashing faults. Be efficient in your method. If you really love your partner, you would want to fix your issues so both of you can enjoy the relationship. Chapter 7, Indication number 6, Clingy Love. In this chapter, being clingy as an indication of envy will be clarified. Is being clingy a bad thing? It means that you're just demonstrating to your partner love and affection, right? A healthy balance must actually be met between an important need to be with somebody and enabling yourself to be your own individual. Remaining in a relationship doesn't really mean you have to spend all your time together. Do you feel like you can't live without your partner to the point that you obsessively make your partner the center of your world? You are probably affected with this sign of jealousy. Clinginess also borders on having stalking habits, depending on the degree of behaviors that are displayed. The root of clinginess is enviousness born out of mistrust. Your need to be clingy normally means that you are suspicious of your partner doing something you don't approve of. You fear leaving your partner for even 1 minute because you believe that means you will be neglected out of your partner's life. You most likely believe that your partner is way out of your league and that it is exactly why you are so terrified of losing your partner. That makes you feel like you are not going to get a much better partner. You may also say that you just feel the need to be loved, but you need to understand that for love to grow, you need to give it space also. Remember that familiarity breeds contempt. How does clinginess manifest in behaviors? Clingy partners are notorious for changing their schedules around to match their partner's activities. They always make themselves readily available to their partners, even if they are in the middle of something essential. To them, their partner's wants and needs are top priority. Stemming from this, their partners initially feel flattered just because they feel crucial and feel like their partners really love them. Though way too much of something can get really exhausting in the end, they find the clinginess scary and manipulative. Partners who are clingy suffer from overstated separation anxiety and feelings of desperation when they can't contact their partners. They feel as though their world is going to end if their partners choose to do something without them. As one would expect, they cannot bear to be apart from their partners. Additionally, they generally react in an exaggerated way with anything to do with their partners. At times, they look like they are hyperventilating when they cannot reach them. They actually go crazy. Every so often, clinginess occurs because afflicted partners don't have a stable support system at a certain moment in time. It could be that they have just relocated to a new city and are far away from friends and family, thus counting on their partners for everything. Clingy people also have propensities of frequently tagging their partners on social networks so that people will be aware that they are together. They want to be connected all the time. They always call, text, drop by their partners' homes and offices, and they take each chance to be linked. They would also verbally declare their love for their partners lots of times and expect the same in return. You will normally find them to be physically attached to their partners when they are together, like always holding onto their partner's hands or hugging them even when they're already seated close together. You'll notice that this happens more when they are around people the clingy partner thinks are threats to their relationships. What are the consequences of being clingy? If you are clingy, the primary consequence is that you'll freak your partner out and frighten your partner away. Your partner might feel suffocated and get sick of you and your attention. In your partner's mind, you have become a bothersome monster. This results in losing the trigger in your relationship once you become unattractive to your partner. Also, since you are just living your life for your partner, it is a lot like you have become your partner's keeper and not your partner's lover any longer. Your partner may come to view you as a substitute parent instead of a romantic partner. When you are too available for your partner, you will certainly be taken for granted since your partner can see you anytime, anyhow. You also end up being codependent on your partner, and you lose yourself while doing so. Your studies or profession may suffer, and your relationships with your loved ones will also suffer. With your clingy ways, your partner will also begin to resent not being able to do the things your partner did before meeting you. Your anxiety out of being excessively clingy can also lead to health issues like ulcers, migraines, or something more serious. Furthermore, you squander a lot of time lingering when you could be doing something productive. The saddest repercussion is that there are times when clingy partners get drawn into a deep, dark depression because they feel that they aren't getting enough love from their partners. That often results in thoughts and acts of suicide. How do you conquer being clingy? Unbind your psychological bonds to this person and sidetrack yourself with other social activities. You may just really need some extra human contact. Respect and love yourself. Be your own person. Learn how to do things by yourself. You alone are accountable for your own happiness. Communicate with your partner and set up routine date nights to make you feel safe that you're going to see your partner again. Regularity is crucial. Understand and respect personal boundaries. Give your partner space and the chance to develop. This could be the saving grace of your relationship. You should wonder why you are so clingy to your partner and inspect your relationship. Make changes to your conduct. Chapter 8, Indication Number 7, Vengeance. This chapter will talk about how and why jealousy can trigger you to exact vengeance on your partner. Do you find yourself feeling disregarded by your partner recently? Do you feel the need to teach your partner a lesson? Revenge is a mind game aimed to control your target that is meant to give you fulfillment. The main reason that you want to take revenge is to make somebody suffer because you are suffering. So, in a way, you are acting out a mirror of your emotions. People always really want vindication when they feel slighted. It is rather a regular response. Nevertheless, it depends on how far you're going to take it. Some just have ideas, while others act on their thoughts. In many cases, you feel like revenge will give you closure. If your partner has been doing things to make you mad and jealous, do you think it gives you the right to punish your partner? Revenge is a powerful thing, and you have to be careful. You may end up regretting it. How does taking revenge manifest in behaviors? Revenge is very personal. And so people desiring revenge will try to hurt others where they will be most hurt. People suffer a lot when their partners cheat on them. It can drive them to do insane things. There are those that turn to revenge sex just because they want to get back at their partners. Some also deliberately flirt with other people in front of their partners to make them feel jealous. They also do this by taking calls and texting others while on dates with their partners. Social media also plays a huge part in vengeance nowadays. Aggrieved partners would also post a lot of photos demonstrating them having a lot of fun with other individuals. Some would even delete photos of their partners or change their relationship statuses just to spite their partners. Another way is to constantly bring up a third party in conversations and put them up on a pedestal to make their partner feel envious. Also, when people feel that their partners are ignoring them, they block their feelings and disregard their partners. They stop responding to calls and text messages. They might also switch off their phones to make their partners stress. Then they start being secretive, like not wanting to say where they have been, as they feel this would make their partners feel jealous as well. They also start to make plans with other individuals, for example, to travel somewhere, without consulting their partners. There is one good thing about revenge, and this is when people use jealousy to improve themselves and increase their own value. This can be evident by an enhanced general physical appearance. They want their partners to regret hurting them. They will then reject their partners to hurt them a lot more. What are the repercussions of vengeance? Accept that everybody makes errors. You do also. The best thing is to try and resolve the issue. Your partner will most likely decline you because they don't trust you any longer, especially if they're innocent of any misdeed. Revenge, for the most part, does not result in any positive circumstances. There is no resolution, and so communication and relationship breakdown follow. Revenge will become a limitless retaliation between you and your partner. Once you have put your revenge into motion, there is no turning back. Then it has been done. The insane things you might do when you are out of vengeance might not show your true self. You are just damaging yourself while you do so. Your health could be at risk if you decide to have an affair. You need to beware because you can catch STDs. It isn't worth it. How do you conquer the need to retaliate? Promote open communication. Tell your partner how you feel and validate what's happening. At times, your perception of the circumstance could be inaccurate, and your partner is actually innocent. Spice it up and do something unusual to rejuvenate your relationship. Look for positive ways to bring you two closer again instead of retaliating. Assess your partner's behavior and see if your partner is deliberately treating you badly. If you learn your partner is cheating on you, then it's time to carry on. Learn to forgive. If you want to stay with your partner, you should learn to accept your partner as is. And when you consent to forget, you should also forgive so that you can let go of this negative energy in your life. You must learn how to have realistic expectations so that you can have peace of mind. The moment you are at peace with yourself, you will take any issues that come with a calm and cool head. You will end up being less vulnerable to have negative ideas. Chapter 9. Dealing with Others' Jealousy. This chapter will now go over enviousness when it originates from the opposite side and how to successfully handle it. First of all, decide if you really want to stay together with an extremely jealous partner. Do you love your partner enough to make your relationship go well? Are you prepared to make sacrifices? If your answer is no, then just get out of that relationship quickly. Nevertheless, if you are willing to make it work, continue listening. What do you do when your partner is jealous? You feel like you're not really doing anything to make them feel that way, but they still get envious. What are the steps that you can take to make your partner feel protected? At the first sign of envy, nip it in the bud. Sit down with your partner and talk it over. Clarify what's bothering your partner. It could be just a truly basic thing, like your partner felt envious earlier because your partner saw you hugging another person. What your partner didn't know, that another person was just your sibling. So there, the issue's fixed. Give your partner the advantage of the doubt. Your partner might have a legitimate point. Do not indulge your partner's irrational envy. In that case, don't be argumentative, but be firm in handling your partner so you can keep away from reaffirming any pictured perceptions your partner may have. You would actually be saving your loved one from getting caught up in the cycle of jealousy. Assure your partner routinely of your love and affection. Your partner might just really need that additional boost of loving care. Always be patient, kind, loving, and caring with your partner. Everybody loves to be flattered, so give routine compliments to your partner. It doesn't cost a thing to remind your partner of his or her fantastic qualities. Encourage your partner to engage in skill-building activities. This will help build your partner's self-confidence and self-reliance. Support your partner's dreams. Set guidelines and boundaries with one another and clarify any gray area. Respect your partner and make certain you stay within the guidelines. If you ever cross any boundary, discuss instantly with your partner. Build on trust in your relationship by spending quality time with one another. It is shown that shared experiences lead to a more powerful bond. Introduce your partner to your loved ones. This will help make your partner feel more secure. Always be sincere and constant. Once your partner catches you in a lie, it's hard to get back trust. Examine your actions because you might unknowingly be acting in a way that's triggering your partner to be jealous. As long as it's realistic, you should stop doing whatever it is that is triggering the problem. Be understanding and learn how to accept your differences. Treat your partner how you want to be dealt with. Be open with your partner. Concealing from your partner appears like such a deceptive thing to do. And this actually triggers enviousness in lots of people, even in you probably. Once jealousy spirals out of control and there is no appeasing your partner, you should know when to leave the relationship. No one deserves to be treated unjustly. Chapter 10. Letting jealousy create a better version of you. In this chapter, you'll learn how to embrace jealousy and use it to develop a better you. Now that you have checked out the different signs of jealousy, do they sound familiar to you? If any of the signs are talking to your heart, acknowledge what is happening and learn how to overcome it. Jealousy is always thought of negatively, but in fact, you can turn it into a favorable thing. It is such a tiring emotion, and you don't want to let it destroy your life forever and ever. So instead of letting it pull you down, use this effective emotion as inspiration and use its strength to make something great out of your life. You can use the tips below to help you end up being a happy, incredible, and positive person with the power to have a pleasurable relationship. Jealousy can function as a wake-up call and help show you where you are lacking. It will help you recognize how your actions impact others. And once you are more in touch with your emotions, you can be more compassionate and more thoughtful of your loved ones. You can use enviousness as an incentive to aim and work harder. When you find yourself comparing yourself to other individuals and you find something they do better than you, take it as a constructive challenge. Purchase yourself. Let jealousy push you to greater heights than you have attained before. Turn the circumstance around and let others be jealous of you. Using enviousness as a part of a healthy competition can help you do better with your studies, sports, career, and it can also induce you to take better care of your health. Many people are drawn to those who exude an aura of warmth and positivity, so turn your negative energy into positive today. Once you are more confident, you begin to organize your life and you become more independent. When it is used as a motivator, envy can help unlock unrealized qualities in you, which could actually lead to exciting new opportunities. Let jealousy help you have an open communication with your partner. Connect to your partner in a mild way, and you might be amazed that your partner didn't even recognize that you are jealous. It will help you be closer and closer when you open yourselves up to one another. Use enviousness as a reward on your part to make more efforts with your partner. Since the root of jealousy is the fear of losing someone, then you should go and aim to be a better partner. Proceed and offer your partner with a lot of love and affection. Jealousy can also help you appreciate the positive traits in your partner. Since you think everybody wants your partner, then concentrate on those qualities you think other individuals really want and capitalize on them. If then you still do not feel gratified with your relationship, take another step back and evaluate your relationship again. You will be surprised. Enviousness may actually help you realize that you and your partner do not match and that you're just squandering your time being together. This has been Jealousy: Signs and Solutions to Deal with Jealous Feelings. Written by Lindsay Baines. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Copyright 2020 by Lindsay Baines. Production copyright by Lindsay Baines. Jealousy: Fighting Through Insecurity in Love and Relationships. Written by Lindsay Baines. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Chapter 1: Exclusive Attention. To date, I've enlightened the planet with my ideas on jealousy and self-esteem. I wish to clear up any misconceptions that could make some males thinking I am targeting only women here. Jealousy and self-esteem concerns might also lock up guys in addition to women. Nobody is excused from real human feelings. Feelings know no face, color, size, or gender. There has two victims here, not solely one, and everybody is susceptible. I also really believe that I've forgotten to expose the way the other party included that is impacted with envy or self-esteem problems suffers as well. A relationship is actually a partnership. It's a commitment made between a couple. In that, we'll stay with each other throughout the years. Sadly, when it is an enviousness issue, both sides are affected. We tend to pay more attention to those who are stuck with their emotions. It is just like they are in jail, simply because they're limited to their cognitive abilities. But it's the victimized individual who needs healing too. To be accused and mistrusted by your precious is actually difficult. In addition to a certain pain that some people can't bear for any prolonged time, accusations and false presumptions can be the undertone of a relationship. And that does not really make it pleasant, if you know what I mean. If you believe someone is being a cheater, and you are pretty sure that they are, this is difficult also. Again and again, they struggle so much to reassure you they deeply love you and that they aren't interested for starving for other people. Once they try to let you know that it's all in your ideas, they risk getting attacked a lot more and get defensive. It's no doubt a vicious cycle. They become paranoid, and it does not matter where they are because you are already convinced that they have fooled you in some manner. At some occasions, it takes a number of days. Some occasions, it drops instantly. Nevertheless, they need to sit and wait and be worried about this if it will get far more depressed and illogical using what they are saying to all of us. They start to feel condemned when they do and condemned when they don't. For myself, I dislike that feeling. That's the moment you want to reconsider your relationship and flee as fast as you can. The disregard you put on that individual using your envious insecurities is as real for them as the emotions to be kept in your prison of doubt. Doubt isn't fun. There are tons of reasons enviousness grows more powerful and more powerful inside of an individual's mind, as well as the innocent ones that truly do not ever do anything, whatever to activate that fear in the body. And these are the innocent victims. For somebody that has started to identify their issues and also has started to handle them, I say, do not forget your partner is there for you. Everyone needs unique attention, simply because they have shared your fears and also your pains. But they still hurt inside. Jealousy can destroy a lot of good stuff in people's lives. It may ruin our relationship, and it can kill the primary one factor that you just really love one another deeply. The worst part about it is that you just take and do not return. You have to stop. Can you have a weapon and shoot your mate? No! So then why would you be enabling this emotion to abuse the ones so near to you? Also, if they already tried to make up for the distrust and if they have shown themselves to be credible in so many ways, it could just be your own insecurity or background that triggers the envy. Your partner also enjoys you as much as you like them, and also they may feel they have caused the influence of you trapped in emotions, which eat at them. To choose to just smile and feel entirely loved means they're feeling better about themselves and that they're liable for that smile. That's a great feeling entirely. When you are not happy, they might blame themselves for that a little. Also, make sure not to fall under that practice of being unhappy through jealous feelings. Understand where they are originating from. Are you currently experiencing them because of an important need to get seen? Are you not receiving enough attention? Again, this can be an inaccurate kind of attention. If you fail to obtain the right attention you are feeling you are missing, then talk to your partner. Do not let envious feelings completely dominate and confuse what you are saying. Any weaknesses in your ideas is truly a direct path to negativity and anguish. After they make it happen, they work very quickly at getting you to a negative mindset, so be familiar with just what you are feeling. Ideally, I have contributed some important ideas inside your mind in regards to what else is going on in your relationship that is impacted by enviousness. Each of the two partners can experience unhappiness or distrust if one of them becomes excessively suspicious. Don't forget to hug, to live, to really love, and to laugh. Life is not all serious. One idea from me to you: take risks. Take chances. Don't think that trusting others is always a bad thing. There are a lot of criminals, true. But there are a lot of reliable people out there also. Likewise, you can trust a person to be faithful in your relationship or to do as they're told, but perhaps not to be completely sincere or on top of things when it comes to something else. An example would be the following. I have a mother-in-law whom I depend not to take from people, but I do not trust her to be on time because she has displayed in the past that she is not extremely punctual. I trust her not to chew me out because she's never done that. But I do not trust her to always get along simply because she has made some judgmental remarks. Becoming a much better judge of character lies at the core of getting rid of jealousy. you need to understand what you can trust other people to do and what you can stay suspicious about. Removing all suspicion would cause naivety anyway. Chapter 2. Jealousy Problems in Marriage. Jealousy in marriage is devastating. A real relationship killer and something people with common marriage issues should resolve. In your soul, if you let feelings of envy develop and escalate, your brain will go wild. Think of the enemy around each corner. Question every little thing your lover thinks, states, and does. In the worst scenarios, unsettled and unchecked jealousy might be going to the point of ending the relationship and ultimately into long-term vengeance schemes that lead to an unhappy life. Although we usually deny it, many individuals have a problem with jealous emotions at some stage in their lives, and in a marriage relationship, it is certainly one of the most common marriage problems that can be cultivated from emotions of insecurity or neglect. We presently live in a society where marital relationships are frequently broken because of another person, an affair, a pornography addiction, and for that reason there are frequently second or subsequent marriages. Case studies in civilization have confirmed this over and over again. And in some countries, 40% of all marriage ends in divorce. Being a cheater has become something exciting to some people, and it is at times even represented in TV shows as a secretive way to get more romantic passion in life. People can get in marital relationships with the formally pointed out luggage, and when they do, it is usually challenging to settle right into a safe and secure relationship, believing an atmosphere filled with self-respect and self-belief. When we have had our trust broken in the past, it is harder to rely on again. Perhaps that's an advantage, so we do not always let people make the most of us. But if it goes too far, or if we don't know who to trust, it can end up being a major problem. Marital enviousness originates from numerous circumstances, and regardless of how much you try and tell yourself there is no need for concern in your mind, you could be listening to that inner voice that tells you that your partner isn't loyal. Therefore, instilling the exact same feelings into your heart again. Those are some things to consider when you can't get rid of the overly envious feelings, or when you're too hard on yourself for feeling that way. Many individuals are natural flirts who draw to a possible partner like magnets, which, when the ring is around the finger, leaves partners completely insecure and solely wanting to be dumped for another individual that may enter their circle of friends. The partner who flirts frequently doesn't have any idea what effect their actions have on the relationship. He or she may not really believe that they're doing anything wrong, but see their actions as being friendly and never hazardous. There are those that are really unconcerned to this. Nobody could be charged with being needlessly jealous if they have proven themselves to be trustworthy over and over again. Some marital relationships make it through an affair, and it is hard to say whether suspicion for another one is justified. Many people might have turned around entirely, with real grief for their prior adultery, and others are incorrigible and should never, ever be totally trusted. Following a divorce, children have to believe that the separation is not because of anything they have done. That leaves parents or caretakers overprotective, eager to make up for their failed relationships and at times too eager to get into a new one. Another thing that can happen when being faced with common marriage issues is the fact that partners feel disregarded when an infant comes, despite of how much they wanted the kid to start with. An infant's mere arrival is completely life-changing, with increased attention for the child together with the total nosedive in marital relations. A female spouse needs to recuperate, so sexual attention could reduce. And constant help and more things could complicate the matter. I have heard my dad say, actually, when the children arrived, she didn't even give me any attention any longer. I was unimportant. The bond between mom and child might leave dads feeling overlooked, unfavorable, and ignored. A mother can feel disregarded because she's usually alone with the kid and does not receive as much attention from friends, family, and social circumstances. A lot of time at the office, a partner can be feeling really insecure, particularly when you spend more time at work and when you spend much less time in your own home with your loved ones. I saw a Dr. Phil show once, and the husband worked for about 70 hours each week. His spouse just really wanted him home, but he said he was doing it for her. He didn't comprehend what she truly wanted in the first place. People get fixated on their own objectives and also have no principle about how this truly is perceived or the way it impacts their relationships as well as their family life. Without 100% backing of both sides, lengthy hours and constant travel can be very real relationship killers, and if left uncontrolled, definitely one of the individual's common marriage issues from which there could be no return. Their email list is unlimited, and jealousy by itself is not a bad element. It's a strong sign that you care. The primary element we need to remember is not to enable the envy to take in, cause rage, and end up being devastating. If you struggle with emotions of jealousy, consider the cause, question your emotions, and see when they have a firm structure. Or were they just constructed of fluff? Is the partner truly doing anything wrong? Have they actually done anything to trigger your envious feelings? Or have you just allowed your feelings to get out of hand? If it is your fault, then understanding how to recognize the truth is the initial step to controlling this sort of emotional and harmful point of view. It allows you to certainly discuss your fears together with your partner, clarify your emotions, and seek their help to conquer your envious feelings, enhance your marriage, and create a much better image of the future. Communication may be the structure to marital success. If you're able to learn how to communicate, you'll have the ability to express your emotions inside a non-confrontational, non-accusatory, comprehending, and encouraging atmosphere. Do not just let your fears out. For example, I think you're getting an affair could potentially not hold true, and it'll just add fuel to the fire. Clarify that something seems different in your relationship. Explain what the difference about it is and why it triggers you to think your marriage has become that way. Do not blame. Do not get emotional. Just show your partner what's going on using your mind and seeking their help in an effort to get it sorted out. Most likely, the most common marriage problem is expecting our partners to constantly comprehend what we would like them to know and just how we're feeling. However, just by having a ring on the finger, it doesn't mean that we're always mind readers. When we have not communicated our emotions and our partner doesn't know anything about them. If they don't know they've done something wrong, be good about it and don't expect them to know without your communication. Let them know now. Save your important marriage before it's far too late. You have something to acquire and you win. Whether or not the answer isn't what you could like to listen to, understanding is power. And with understanding comes the opportunity to turn your life around. I remember I had a sweetheart who was really envious. When I talked with other men, he would immediately show up and be a little helicopter. It was the most frustrating thing ever, and his suspicion suggested that he did not trust me. Eventually, this absence of trust triggered us to break up. I did not want to stay with a man who presumed I was lying when I said I was not trying to flirt with other guys. Sometimes it's better to let things go and believe people. Chapter 3. Control your jealousy. Jealousy is just one thing that impacts the lives of individuals across the country. Though it is natural to see regular changes in someone's envy, letting these negative emotions can result in devastating conflicts inside your work life, domesticity, and love. Noted here are a number of methods for you to control enviousness and keep it from ruining your life. The critical thing to comprehending how to control envy would be to isolate yourself from the situation. For example, let us say your next-door neighbor purchases a new car, and you are envious just because yours is less attractive and fuel effective. Often with time, the reason that to be envious won't matter at all. Will the truth that your neighbor got a good-looking vehicle that you eventually really matter in 5 years or even 10? Understanding how to forget material-based enviousness is a best method to begin living a better, easier life and think of the long term. A very different way to control jealousy would be to enhance your confidence. Amongst the greater reasons for jealousy, in the end, insecurity is the biggest. Let us say your brother or sister has a better job than you. Coping with this understanding can put a massive damper on your confidence. You are insecure, miserable, and scared you will not ever advance in your profession. Still, as you master to really love yourself a little more, you have the ability to understand you have a positive quality and attributes which help you add to your organization. Just try making a synopsis of these abilities and associates next time you are feeling insecurity pulling at your heart. Ensure that it stays inside a popular place and use it like an indicator that you are practical and reliable. A case in point is retrograde enviousness. That's when one partner is envious of some other for having dated more people before meeting their present partner. You may even receive an irrational, jealousy-fueled delusion that others are attempting to seduce your lover, or that the partner will eventually cheat on you. With regards to dealing with this type of envy, voicing your issues as quickly as possible is the most convenient technique to control enviousness. If you can't exercise your feelings when you talk to your partner, try speaking to a restorative therapist. He or she could be more than certified to hear each side of the story and suggest techniques to banish the jealousy in your relationship before it causes an excessive amount of damage. Insecurity. Are you hoarding animosities or entering arguments? Are feelings of depression there that make it hard to achieve what you ought to do? If this defines you, don't forfeit hope. You are not completely alone. Additionally, overcoming feelings of jealousy and insecurity isn't as tough as it seems to be. It might appear much easier said than done, but it really is true. Jealousy and insecurity can last forever, but actually, its impacts only continue for as long as you allow you to ultimately feel them. Often, your emotions of insecurity might convince you that you will never get to a greater grade on your test, receive that promotion, or date the romantic crush you have always dreamt of. Sometimes your jealousy might have you insisting that the one who attained that which you wanted doesn't deserve their benefit. You could also actually believe that they cheated, or that they're just fortunate. It's hard to conceive when you do your best that someone else is more successful, better looking, or happier in life. No matter your reason for being jealous, your feelings of jealousy and insecurity can greatly maim your everyday life. Keeping these feelings suppressed and unvoiced is incredibly harmful, undoubtedly. It will not only damage your psychological health, but the lingering results into stress and anger, which may even damage your physical health too. For this reason, talking about your concerns before they become too extreme is almost the best means of overcoming jealousy and insecurity. I already mentioned this, but I cannot stress it enough. Talk, talk, talk. This can be done by contacting your family and friends. They can comfort and motivate you. They might even have the ability to offer recommendations about how to approach the issue that you just never ever might have thought of by yourself. Even when they simply listen, getting this negativity off your chest can help significantly in dealing with it. Visiting a therapist concerning your insecurity is another good approach, specifically if you feel your emotions are affecting you seriously. He or she might not always have the ability to provide you with professional, neutral advice, but your counselor will also find the primary issue, like an occasion in your past that could have activated this sort of feeling. Oftentimes, people who see their therapist don't know that their envy emerges from such occurrences. And when you comprehend why you have this sort of feeling of fear, aggravation, or depression, you will be able in the future to let the problem go. Chapter 4. jealousy and isolation. Experiencing envy isn't fun. There's the overwhelming feeling that life is just not fair. The gnawing disappointment, as well as periods of self-loathing. What a ton of people do not comprehend is the fact that enviousness isn't always a pretty feeling that is easily ignored. Like chronic depression, anxiety, anger, it's a condition that needs to be dealt with in steps. Noted here are a couple of kinds of the best ways to conquer your personal emotions of enviousness. The preliminary step is to acknowledge that you're jealous. This is typically hard for many, simply because this means learning that the anger isn't always exemplary or fair. Nonetheless, by realizing this, you can start the entire process of overcoming it. Gradually, the surprises that stem from this method are ultimately as pleasing as learning that you were just to haven such emotions against another person. Once you have acknowledged your enviousness, you're all set to dissect the issue. By doing this, you might find that your situations, while unfair and fairly disturbing, are inescapable. For instance, your coworker could get a commission or get promoted to some position that you've been wanting. In such situations, easy blind luck could be the reason another individual was selected, rather individual. However, it does not matter what the cause is. You have to leave them for what they are and stop comparing. In some circumstances, it could be something larger than easy conditions that stored you against that which you desire. These circumstances are often harder to beat, as this is based on your own actions or lack thereof. For instance, you may not have been selected to play on the sports team since you simply did not play with enough concentration at the time of the tryouts. It's not hard to experience emotions of aggravation or self-loathing when confronted with situations like these. Though many can conquer their envy regardless of these failures by not giving up. While looking at only the situation as being a chance to enhance yourself, you should use your enviousness like an inspirational tool. Whatever the reason for your jealousy is, it is essential that you don't obsess over what you think. In the end, life is simply too short to invest in wishing you had been different or moping over situations that you can't change. By looking at life in a more positive light, you have the ability to ignore your jealousy much faster. Jealousy, as numerous women and men know, is an extremely hard feeling to manage simply because it needs your stomach and twists it into knots before you yell for a release. The issue is that whatever we yell at is often misinterpreted and frowned upon. Most people dislike it when others are envious. It makes them appear like losers who aren't changing their future but are just complaining about it. It gets condemned, while those who are envious actually just really need empathy. When you are jealous, you experience a loss. You mourn over the fact that somebody else seems to be doing better than you. Jealousy includes a mind of their own, which is adequately strong to produce us to actually believe and find out things that aren't even there or which have not happened yet. It's different from just being suspicious. Jealousy can obscure our minds. Jealousy could make us stress and put the brain into a prison that people can't leave. It locks the entrances and doesn't let us out until it actually wants to. Jealousy will keep the brain from sleeping because it acknowledges that sleep causes us to be strong and will let us to battle it. It can have a bad impact on your health that makes it even harder. Jealousy knows no reasonable thinking. It makes it very challenging to get support from those around us, and harder to try to explain why we react once we do if we are afflicted by this terrible feeling. Jealousy includes a weakness, though that's love and trust, and women helping women to find techniques to fight this nasty aspect that grows within us. Jealousy is very connected, or could even be caused by one's low self-esteem. But in some cases, we just compare ourselves to others, and we do not like how quick they have progressed. Rather than condemning this feeling, try to embrace it and accept that life doesn't have to be fair, and that we do not have to be that other person. We can progress at our own speed. Just because people usually condemn jealousy, It can come with isolation. We wish another person understood our loss and sadness. We wish for things we do not have. And others may just tell us to be thankful for what we have. This is a problem and pulls us down into the loneliest place. Imagine getting anxiety, and your mouth is glued shut, which means you are not able to voice your pains and fears. This can be a small illustration of the way a person feels when their enviousness takes control of them. When they discuss it, they appear implicit and confrontational. Other people feel they're being attacked for something they didn't even do. It's actually a no-win circumstance for anybody involved. But to help keep it stuck inside only gives birth to an awful seed of pain, frustration, pain, and real solitude. It eats at our strength, causing us to be weak in our judgment of what's real and what's not. And this way, we can feel stuck. Why? How did we become this individual we didn't want to end up being? We broke no rules to get punished for. Whenever we have a look at someone else, we only see what we want to be. It blinds us from who we are and just what we need to offer everywhere in the world. It mesmerizes the brain and produces dreadful results. People believe that you can just disappear. We want it to be that basic. If enviousness gets beat by having a mere idea, we'd maintain it in a flawless world. Do people truly think we do it purposefully? Obviously not. We'd rather be happy, but it's hard to be, and that's something to be fixed. Jealousy includes one fear, that is love. Love conquers all, and that's just as real as just because the frustration we're feeling inside if we're imprisoned through the fears of envy is just as real also. If you see someone is jealous, you need to be there for him or her. Loneliness is the hardest thing when a person is jealous. Friends and family who empathize with the person can help against the negative ideas that jealousy controls. We need to tell ourselves that we're safe, we're loved, and we're needed. We have to concentrate on the good around us and employ our thought energy to adopt positive ideas instead of negative ones. Whenever we do defeat our negative mind, we should pat ourselves on the backs, since this has been a very real struggle. Recognize your efforts as you have won, and the win is going to be greater next time. We simply need to continue to look for methods to win a boost of self-confidence as well. Together, we'll dominate this isolation. Strength is in us, and we now have the opportunity to take control over our feelings. Chapter 5. Mental Issues. Aside from low self-esteem, another reason jealousy concerns are exceptionally popular can be feelings of depression and hopelessness. An example would be the following. Let us say you didn't obtain a raise that you wanted at work, or if you are self-employed, another person could be making more cash with their business, speeding up faster than you. Comparing is the huge key. Stop comparing yourself to others and compare yourself to how you used to be. Even if you did not make much progress in your own eyes, look at what you have learned for many years. Get over yourself and make things happen, instead of constantly wishing you were someone else. Now, how to do that? Well, the main point is not to be so hard on yourself and to accept that you do not need to be the best at everything. It is a false idea that gets taught in some cultures. At times, coping with jealousy issues could take a good deal of time. Nevertheless, you will feel far better for getting this done. In regard to the psychological clarification of where jealousy originates from, you will be surprised at just how much there is to understand. Research has revealed that a crucial part of getting rid of jealousy is through more self-examination. Some of us get more competitive than others, but if you look at life, it doesn't truly matter. I will tell you a story. As a teenager, I was a little fanatic about basketball. I played it every day and got better and better. I was the best in the class, one of the best ones in our city team, and I usually did all the amusing tricks on outside courts when the weather was good enough. After some time, I signed up for a basketball camp. all the former NBA stars and WNBA stars I looked up to unexpectedly look like irrelevant no-ones to me. Why? Simply because some of the guys and girls at that camp were better than I was. But I had no respect for them. I lost my respect when they made arrogant remarks, played unclean, or had that whole "look at me, I own the world" popularity mindset. I could not stand them, and I definitely didn't look up to them. And at that moment, I realized I didn't care about somebody's abilities anymore. I cared more about how nice of a person they were. My point is the following. At times, we look up to others, only to find out that we're happy to be who we are instead of trying to be another person. I also realized our emotions of jealousy all come from something we call ego. Why do we have to be the prettiest, the richest, or the most skilled? Why can't we be happy for others and be content with ourselves? Who whispers in our ear that we are never enough? That we can never be satisfied about life? I'm telling you to tell that voice to shut up. It's not you. You are good enough anyway, despite the fact that we should always aim to do better. This striving itself is what counts, not always the results. If you have been abused, bullied, or in some way have experienced the ugly nature of some human beings who call themselves that, it is hard to withstand the urge to seek vengeance, to stick out, or to show them that they're wrong about you. But have you ever considered their viewpoint does not matter? Screw them! Who cares what other individuals think? You don't need to make everybody like you. The most effective people often have the most haters. You can be yourself and advance at your own pace. You are a better person today than you were yesterday. You have made the development. If you are not, then begin working on that. The heck with people on Facebook or whatever platform who flaunt their fake perfect lives. The heck with people who tell you they made $20,000 just because they were wise enough to find out the system. The heck with the ones that seem to make fun of you simply because they have larger boobs, a more youthful face, or more successful kids. They have problems too, and they even have less issues. They don't matter. You have to work on yourself. Careful whom you choose to be your role models. Some of these phonies have as many complex scenarios as anybody, but are scared to expose it. I've read that some of the greatest suicide rates are in Japan and South Korea, 2 countries in which preserving an individual's honor is an important principle. Although these countries are highly developed and relatively wealthy, it seems like the huge issue is that everyone is measuring up and attempting to be flawless. The message? You're never good enough has definitely triggered the occasional resident of these nations to take their life. Stand up for what's right and counter the world's trend of constantly flaunting. You do not need to be impressive to be a very good individual, and even an impressive individual. I typically spot people fast who are sincere, smart, or generous. Not the ones who know a lot, earned a lot, or performed well. Some of the latter mentioned ones can have substantial egos, ruined social lives, or malicious intentions. And even if they do not, what makes you think you have to be them? You don't. You have potential. Act on it. Chapter 6. Self-esteem. Once you have given your confidence levels a boost, you will find that it is not hard to conquer low self-confidence and envy. In the end, simply because another person got that which you really wanted does not indicate that you're going to never ever get it either. Instead of letting jealousy bog you down, use this as a real chance to consider a brand new method to your goals, or just continue to work harder. I know of a millionaire, one in particular that I met, who is still obsessed with making fun of another millionaire who earns more. It's miserable to see, but even with about $1 million in his savings account, The first guy can't appear to be happy just because he's disappointed with the other guy's success. Do you think he's going to be happy when he reaches the other guy's salary level? Obviously not. Self-esteem lies at the core of jealousy, so to repair the problem, the core needs to be considered. It's hard to confess, but all of us struggle with it in some cases. I talked about some techniques in prior chapters already. Group treatments are another effective way for coping with enviousness. These types of meetings provide you with the advantage of having a supportive audience to tell your problems to. Additionally, you can find more on how to feel free by helping others. It does not matter what approach you choose to surpass your envy, you will have the ability to loosen up with the understanding that you're growing like an individual and enhancing your life. Lots of my friends have gone to group meetings for pornography addictions, rage problems, or other relationship issues. And almost everyone returns with a positive feeling after having gone to one of these conferences. Some tips to grow your self-esteem. Don't be a perfectionist. Compare yourself only to yourself. Get on a healthy diet. Create something, whether it's art, content, music, or something else. Take pride in past achievements and stay modest enough to keep learning. Live your purpose. Silence your inner critic. Chapter 7. Delusional Jealousy. Everybody is impacted by routine bouts of envy. Yet delusional enviousness is bothersome certainly. That can be a symptom in which your jealousy depends on irrational presumptions or overblown feelings of anger, depression, or anxiety. Individuals who are suffering from delusional envy may take extreme steps to repair their issue, to start seriously traumatic or harming the individual they're jealous of. Delusional envy is usually something which collects with time. It builds up and up and up till it ends up being a fear that seems really real. You might start to believe that your partner or romantic partner is having an affair. Subsequently, you might do absolutely all you can to keep your partner from cheating, even to start restricting their activities. If you are envious at a colleague or another business owner, you may begin to challenge them and try to find dirt on them and their lives. These are some kinds of delusional enviousness. If these appear familiar, don't forfeit hope. You are not alone, and it is possible to get help before time runs out. Frequently, treatments are considered a vital part of treating enviousness such as this. Not only is the counselor efficient in listening without bias and giving advice, but he or she may also find the real reason for your envy. Be it rooted inside a mental disorder, or it emerges from a youth experience. Likewise, psychiatrists are helpful in that they'll also offer your medication and group treatment if you really want it. A benefit to group treatment would be that the patient has the capacity to learn in numerous ways. In overcoming your delusional enviousness, you don't only learn to have control over your emotions, you're also growing as a person. It does not matter how you treat your jealousy, you'll be able to have a happier life with the understanding that it's meaningless to continue with such animosities or take such actions against others. One way to begin when you try to get rid of deceptions is to acknowledge them. When you feel bitter, you need to accept that what you're feeling is unrealistic and overstated. People often think they can trust themselves, but the human mind can be so harmed when people are tired, mad, hurt, made the most of, and so on. Even if you are the victim, and you well could be, this does not mean you are right about everything. Let's say a person is having more success than you and they brag about it. It might feel like you are the victim and it's not fair, and that the individual could not even deserve it. What you really need to do at that moment is recognize that perhaps it's not fair. You don't have to convince everyone else of this fact. It's easy and true. It's not fun. It's dreadful. Nobody in your shoes wants to experience this, and in that element, you must trust your own feelings of enviousness or hurt are typical and a sensible repercussion of the circumstance. Yet now, you're stuck with an issue. Your mind got damaged, through no fault of your own, and you're not rejoicing. So, how do you deal with this? Well, firstly, find reasons to love yourself a bit more. Look into the future and see what you can still end up being. Look into the past and write down some of your achievements and past successes and names of people who really love you or have ever been impressed by you. Encouraging messages and thoughts that every little thing will be okay and inspirational quotes like the ones in the next chapter can also help. Now that you've done that, you know you are definitely worth a lot. You might have been victimized, but your largest obstacle isn't to gauge up any longer, but to overcome this struggle. Many individuals nowadays look up to millionaires, models, and successful mommies, young sports players, or some other of those worldly successes. But in eternity, those things don't matter. Your spiritual welfare matters too, but that's something only you can accomplish if you work on yourself and your emotions. And this is the road back to feeling better and getting a clear mind. The delusions will fade. You will not trust them any longer. You'll see things in a better perspective just because you'll ignore the individual you are jealous of. Maybe not literally, but in your mind, you stop obsessing over that individual's perceived joy or success. Short-term suspicion. At times, envy can become severe. There are those that just won't let go. Rather than condemning them, we need to understand why. For some, competition is a little thing. For others, it's hard to conquer emotions of suspicion even if there's no little reason for them. And this might be related to broken trust in the past. Let me give you another example. When my spouse was dating me, he told me about his brother. His brother hadn't met me yet, but he warned me that he wouldn't be too positive. When I did meet his brother, I got lectured. I didn't get any trust. And when I complained about it, my partner just told me, "Look, he's been in a relationship with a really manipulative borderline disorder patient who lied about a lot and constantly crossed the limits. He's had self-destructive ideas and depressive symptoms. His trust in women in general has been temporarily damaged. He's been traumatized by something he didn't see coming, and now he has just enough time trusting his judgment, let alone mine. You need to give him some time." I did. I gave him some time. Ultimately, he saw I was not manipulative or crazy, and that our relationship lasted. And I understood that he wasn't to blame. Now, for a person whose parents or caretakers were violent in any way, this could be even harder just because their trust has been broken over and over again as kids, and it will take a lot longer to recover from this. Chapter 8. Jealousy Quotes. Quotes on jealousy are fairly basic to find. If the envy is based upon romantic love, the job place, information, or friendship. There are countless different authors, poets, and thinkers who've had something to say about the issue. No matter whether you are simply looking for sympathy or you want to increase your knowledge, using quotes on jealousy is a great way to help you to be prepared for when a time like that comes. Many people look for quotes on jealousy in an effort to think favorably. You may not think in the beginning that using quotes on jealousy is going to do much, but it actually helps hugely to comprehend that someone is supportive to your plight or once experienced something similar to the problem you have, even when that person has already been dead for centuries. Quotes will also be good sources for motivation. You should try keeping a lot of them on hand to improve your mood whenever you feel your negativity will be all set to completely dominate. If you refer to them throughout tight spots, you will be able to comprehend that your scenarios are not as bad as you think. You might even find quotes which will inform you on how to approach jealousy in ways you might not have considered otherwise. There are more strategies that are useful to cure envy, which includes writing your emotions down, dealing with the cause of it, or talking with somebody else about it. Still, if you keep quotes nearby, you have the ability to remember considering positive thoughts with confidence, which is a crucial part of removing all your consuming envy. Fortunately, quotes on enviousness aren't tough to get. You could reference them in some areas online. There are websites with quotes like that. You may also take a look at quote books from your local library. Jealousy is a disease. Love is a healthy condition. The immature mind often mistakes one for the other, or assumes that the greater the love, the greater the jealousy. In fact, they are practically incompatible. One emotion barely leaves room for the other. By Robert A. Heinlein. Jealousy, that dragon which kills love under the pretense of keeping it alive. By Havelock Ellis. A thermometer of success is simply the envy of the malcontents. By Salvador Dali. You can only be jealous of somebody who has something you think you should have yourself. By Margaret Atwood. What sort of love is penetrated by envy? You are jealous simply because you are unaware that everything you need is inside you. By Peter Dunev. A skilled and confident individual is incapable of enviousness in anything. Jealousy is an invariable sign of aberrant insecurity. By Robert A. Heinlein. Jealousy is both reasonable and belongs to realistic men, while envy is base and belongs to the base. For one makes himself get good things by jealousy, while the other doesn't allow his neighbor to have them through envy. By Aristotle. The envious are troublesome to others, but torture to themselves. By William Penn. The envious are possessed by a mad devil and dull spirit at the same time. By Johann Caspar Lavater. Jealousy is the tribute mediocrity pays to genius. By Fulton J. Sheen. Chapter 9. Handle Jealousy. Learning how to handle envy is not a simple factor, specifically when the occurrence continues to be fresh in your ideas. The first feelings of bitterness, frustration, and disappointment can be extremely excruciating. Though after a while you'll be able to distance yourself more from the issue. And you'll find that dealing with jealousy is not as unrealistic as it appears. How will you learn to handle jealousy? There are a number of ways to confront these emotions. The purpose of managing envy, however, is not to solve the issue that caused it, but to continue living a material, healthy life regardless. This might mean accepting the terms of having a couple of awkward truths, but in time you'll feel far better for having actually grown mentally. You can't always force feelings to fade quicker than you really want them to. But accepting them until they do is part of the healing process. Amongst the first phases in how to deal with jealousy would be to comprehend that simply because a person accomplished something or got something does not necessarily mean that you're not efficient in having your desires fulfilled. I mentioned this earlier, but I keep coming back to this simply because it's so essential. Simply because of this, many learn how to handle enviousness using the emotion inside a positive way. Quite just, they will use their intense emotions of envy like a motivational tool, thus growing their performance and ambition. Fear is something else that could be an obstacle. Are you scared or concerned about the future? Just because if you knew, for example, that every little thing was going to be okay in several days, several years, and so forth, would you truly fuss over the exact same things? The hardest part of anything is not knowing the future. Sure, we partially form our own future, but there are many things that are just out of our control. Here is an example. Would you fuss over finances if you knew you'd settle any remaining costs or loans in several years? Would you be afraid to lose your partner if you foresaw that a year from now your marriage would be better? Would you be fretted about your cancer treatment if you knew everything would be looked after in a year or two? Ignorance is difficult. We all want to know what's coming to us. Let's look at a couple. An example that has been shared on the internet. The partner was afraid that his partner was cheating on him. They'd been getting problems, and she was spending significantly more time away from home, obviously by helping cover her good friends. The spouse didn't actually believe her for 1 second and used his time hanging out at home, dialing her telephone number, as well as some, on occasions, traveling around town to find out if he could typically see her on a date with another man. When she got back, she'd be relentlessly grumbling, and over time she'd shut him out completely. Communication dried, and the relationship was, as it appeared, essentially over. He looked terrible, worn out, overwrought, and obese. His skin was bad, his breath was nasty, and he displayed all of the traditional signs of a man who had been beaten up internally. Not to mention all of this desperation and envy was not only making them sad and ill, it had been driving her further away too. His insufficient rely on her wasn't only deeply insulting, but was wearing down anything good they had ever endured. Now the spouse anxiously wanted to get far away from this horrible mess, and he was willing to totally change his perspective and habits. I'm certain about the fact that letting your jealousy show is a reliable method to lose your self-respect, dismantle someone's self-confidence, and maybe even destroy your life. There is very little that ruins a good reputation, trust, and a marital relationship quicker than jealousy. It typically produces anxiety, anger, loneliness, hate, and fear. Nobody thinks clearly when they are jealous. Acquiring trust when you have a jealous individual is a very real drag as well. Jealousy helps make the individual unattractive, even transforming them from lover and supporter to nemesis. Nobody wants an envious partner, and nobody likes being jealous. So why is everyone a little envious then? In my viewpoint, there are a variety of reasons. Nevertheless, the primary cause is a breakdown in communications, which typically happens for one of two reasons. 1. Something has changed, and for whatever reason, you don't feel in a position to communicate freely and honestly any longer with your partner. 2, or possibly either partners are controlling their capability by withholding info brought on by anger, hurt, or perhaps even plain thoughtlessness. Both situations produce communication black holes that are then easily loaded with fear, rage, and dreams. Communication can help the envious man open up. Questions appear such as, has she found someone she likes better than me? Is she having an affair? Is she likely to leave me? Has she found someone stronger, more younger, or funnier than me? When you are envious, you assume the worst. Perhaps she'll love her fitness specialist and then leave me. She's going to lunch together with her boss because she's being a cheater on me with him. She's not responding to the telephone just because she is making love with a few guys at a motel. It goes so fast, and in some cases, it ends up being so absurd. Are you familiar with just how fast this actually goes? I bet you felt pretty dumb, too, when she showed up in the grocery store carrying tons of groceries, but while you unpacked people's groceries, I bet you were still searching for clues that she'd been cheating. Unbelievable, right? We sure make life tough on ourselves. How do we handle these terrible feelings of enviousness? How can you cope with a partner or boyfriend or girlfriend who is continuously envious? First, if you're envious, you have to communicate. You have to stop presuming the absolute worst and get some questions in your mind. Open the lines again. You should not be aggressive, defensive, confrontational, or prickly. Second, and only as important, you need to stop searching for peace of mind. You can never really be sure. That's just life. How can she respect you if you don't respect yourself enough to manage your fears and concerns? Thirdly, you need to remind yourself for your reason for being with her to begin with. And recognize that trust is just worth keeping alive if you have the ability to do so. In the event that trust sheds forever and ever, maybe you're ready to move away from this relationship. But is that truly what's best? Or are you just going through a stage? Remember, envy is demeaning and embarrassing. It's a manifestation of weakness and fear. In the end, the quickest way to banish the green monster is when you focus on yourself, not on your partner. If you have great self-esteem, envy doesn't have a choice but to pack its bags and leave town. Live the dream. Every one of us is defined about this life to satisfy a distinct purpose, little or huge. Some describe this as dharma, or sacred duty, a distinctive, divinely given gift you have been born with to see the planet in a much different light. Should you now not know your own personal purpose, or should you not be prepared to risk your lifetime to discover it? It could be mentally disabling to witness another individual satisfy their own. Rather, make an attempt to actually start to build your personal special dream. Begin with a certain direction, and you'll quickly wind up too busy pursuing your different skills, passions, and interests to keep rating of any person else's. Be genuine. Being fake is really a sure indication you might be suppressing your very best self, which could set off a desire to suppress others' success, confidence, or fortune. By progressively consciousness of your authentic ideas, feelings, and attitudes in the moment, and supplying yourself with authorization to honestly express them, even when unpopular, you'll rid yourself of anything negative and allow your personal light to shine. Practice self-care. The old saying goes, should you not love yourself, then it's unrealistic to like another individual. Self-care includes something that supports the mind, body, and spirit. For me, personally, yoga, meditation, and aromatherapeutic baths cause me to feel happier, grounded, and safe and secure. For you personally, it might be cooking, gardening, finger painting, or going on a prolonged walk in the forest. Coloring books for adults have become more popular too, and a lot of people have testified that they alleviate stress. It's an enjoyable activity. Self-destructive conduct like getting drunk or high or getting together with negative people, eating way too much sugar, or watching soap TV series all day long do not count. Do what really nourishes you, and you'll wind up feeling too delighted to hate on another individual. You will forget others because you can almost call it a little self-centered, but that's fine. Feel too busy with yourself to think about them. Change your attitudes. Professionals agree that you simply become generally the 5 people you spend the most time with. Because of that, if you are not pleased with any part of your life, it's time for you to particularly notice the social circle. You want to achieve your optimum potential, don't you? How many gossipers, trolls, and haters are there in the world? A lot. Rather than going after their own success and accepting that life isn't always easy, they start disliking on others. Yes, some people are just luckier in life. Many people just have better things coming to them, but that's trivial if it only matters what happens to you. Separate yourself in your mind. Grumbling is an indication that you are not busy enough to progress and make the best of the limited resources you have. Have a gratitude journal. It may seem silly, but each day it is important that you set up time for you to jot down a minimum of 10 things in your personal life you're grateful for. Perhaps it is your health and well-being, your loved ones, the sun's rays, or simply getting up out of bed at a later time of the day. For added credit, list 10 reasons for yourself that you are appreciative of the things other individuals do. Stop comparing yourself to others. We live in a world with more than 7 billion others. So statistically, it's likely that there'll always be someone smarter, skinnier, stronger, more adorable, cuter, richer, sexier, more effective, more spiritual, or more amazing than you. Yet, this is just the way they look on the outside. Nobody's life is as perfect as they make it appear initially or on Facebook. Behind the curtain, their life might be an overall mess. So why compare how you are on the inside to what someone else looks like on the outside? You need to see the complete picture. If you want Brad Pitt's looks, Jeff Bezos' cash, and Selena Gomez's singing talent, but You want to be able to slam dunk the basketball like LeBron James? Well, that individual just doesn't exist. The only people that exist are the ones with either that sort of cash, or the singing skill, or the basketball moves, and so on. Yes, some people are wealthy and well-known and gifted. And maybe their problems aren't as big as yours, but they still have them. Everyone has haters. Everyone has physical deficiencies and doubts. Everybody gets discouraged every once in a while. And even the people who shower in their money and popularity don't always feel good about themselves because they're not helping other individuals and just thinking of themselves. Ignore privilege. As infants, we're trained to believe that the world evolves around us. All we should do is frown or cry, and all our needs are met without getting to lift a finger. Though this lazy worldview works wonders for an infant, it might be dreadful for being an adult. No one is entitled to something they didn't work for. If you would like something, be prepared to sacrifice. Be disciplined. Go on and take a calculated risk and work for it. Otherwise, you will inevitably begrudge another individual that has done that. Behind each envious individual is somebody essentially mad at themselves for falling short and fails to make them their personal best. Practice detachment. There's no problem with having desires, but attachment to them creates suffering. This is kind of what the Buddhists teach. Releasing things eliminates suffering. Unhealthy attachments to individuals, spots, and things trigger us to live in a continuing condition of incorrect control and fear that we may lose the product we really want. This leads to a perfect breeding place for jealous thoughts and behaviors, like keeping the score with other individuals by moving through life easily, detached towards the results of our actions. We stay free, unencumbered, and also at peace. Give credit. Rather than secretly sinking into the miry clay of self-loathing, if you meet somebody with benefits you wish were yours, be happy for them. Do not dislike, congratulate. Let them know specifically why you admire them. It's your ego, not your divine self, that wishes to withhold praising another's goodness. Stop hoarding the romantic passion. Give somebody who deserves it some credit and joy. Being sincere and getting this sort of feeling off your chest might stop them from festering in bitterness and envy, creating more and more of the power you could have to develop exceptional achievements in your life. Meditate or pray. Going inward with a brief everyday meditation practice can help you get in contact with a few of the much deeper issues which may be weighing in your heart, greater than Mr. or Miss Perfect, or getting a more salary or fame. By focusing on your spirit, the everlasting part of you that transcends your personality, your resume, outer success and failures, you're going to be less attracted to appear effective on the outside. In the Bible, in Matthew 16:26, it reads, "What is a guy benefited if he shall gain the entire world but lose his own soul?" The soul matters more than the short-term gain of what we can get in the world. Review things you take pride in. Write them down, as many as you can. Your past accomplishments, your struggles that you overcame, people who praised you, your strengths, your diplomas, the skills you learned, the sports games you won, the moment in which others were surprised, the moment you checked out the mirror and thought you were not that bad looking after all, the family and friends who love you or were grateful for something you did. Now, does this make you feel better? Oh, so who cares if another person has his or her own successes? You advanced at your own rate, and you have a bright future ahead of you. It's never too late. I remember talking to my brother. I said, if I would have been more focused on this or that business, I would lead everybody else at this moment. His smart advice? Perhaps that holds true, and you may feel that you've wasted a little bit of time with non-money-making activities, but you cannot believe that it's all like that. Some individuals didn't make any money their whole lives and then found an opportunity when they were 50 years old and suddenly became a millionaire in 5 or 6 years. Don't feel sad about missing out on opportunities. When one door closes, another one opens up. And when he said that, I realized that we always have new opportunities to make the best of ourselves. I also remember one of my friends. She was fat and overweight. I can still remember how upset she was about it all the time. Years later, though, I saw her again and practically didn't recognize her. She was skinnier and more appealing, and she felt better about herself. So rather than feeling envious of what another has done, address your own speed and work towards enhancing your own life. As I said before, being envious isn't the exact same as being suspicious. There can be a pretty good reason for being suspicious. If we were never ever suspicious, everybody could get away with lies or benefit from us. However, being excessively suspicious becomes a problem when there's no reason, or when your presumptions are becoming so improbable that it starts to irritate people, and that those that deserve trust aren't being trusted. And that's when you might have a serious problem. Trust issues that are based upon past traumas really need to be dealt with, and your faith in others who can be trusted needs to be brought back. At the closing of this audiobook, I want to impress on you that it is my longing for you to become free of emotions of enviousness. I hope you can live a very happy life and that you will find options to cope with, eliminate, or use emotions of jealousy or envy to create a better life. You will find more fulfillment in life if you're not always trying to contend or trying to be better than somebody else. You'll find more peace of mind if you can let your partner go with the reassurance that you can rely on that person's word. Best of luck. This has been Jealousy, Fighting Through Insecurity in Love and Relationships, written by Lindsay Baines. Read for you by Chloe Jacobson. Copyright 2020 by Lindsay Baines. Production copyright by Lindsay Baines.